so that they'll do something.
Yeah,
we could have something. We could have something where like we have to get like 1,000 mics before we hot fire.
How do?
All right, guys. If we get to 500.
How do we make it so that those cameras are?
Get so much likes.
Okay.
Is it on?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think are we live? So
Yeah, we're live.
9 viewers already. 6. So we're live, right?
Yeah, we're live.
Yes, we're live.
Hello.
Someone should put the link to Livestream in Slack.
Yeah, I'm going to. Or
I just posted to Instagram. Did you post it to Reddit? We're going to right now. Okay.
Alright, can I connect to the board?
all right, cool.
Go ahead, you can connect.
We're live, by the way.
Yo.
Alright,
Awesome.
hello stream.
Oh wait.
Do you know how to get it so that this is our stream and this is because this is connected to?
Yeah, you're mirrored. You gotta extend your display.
How do you do that?
Do Windows P.
Just in the Windows
You gotta type the data on that
display.
too.
Yeah.
Just extend.
Yes, and then drag that over.
What's the date today?
And then drag what
22.
over? Just it.
February 22nd.
Yeah, drag the OBS window over like that.
Oh.
And then back up. There you go.
Awesome.
Can you read the board?
Hold on, I'm putting up the buoy right now.
How do you make this full screen? There we go. All right.
Good looks.
We are streaming. Look at this. Space for everyone.
Alfonso, that camera needs to be rotated roughly 40 degrees clockwise.
You just said that camera.
Yo, I was just thinking.
He's back.
That's up.
Alright, we're connected.
Stream is live.
Okay, one of these.
Do we have a mute button on this mic?
Give us a countdown to the auto sequence.
We need to run the auto sequence.
Mute button?
Alright.
We need ambient touch first.
Yeah,
though.
ambient touch.
There's a switch on the back.
I need.
We just use the mouse.
We only can have one of these. I don't know which one you have.
Well, no,
You
just
wanna
in
do
case.
yours?
Like, just yeah.
Or do you want me to talk and you to click?
I can.
Or you could do both.
No, can you tell
Yeah, I
the
can-
guys out there? Just like
You need to tell them though.
you're not
They
saying bad words.
we weren't ready to ambitize, so we gotta
Just in
we gotta
case.
talk to them to know when we're ready to ambitize.
We're live, right?
Okay.
Yes, we are
We're
live.
ambientizing. Okay, we're ambientizing and
Hold on. Let me-
So we're good to ambientize, right? Like everything's been vented, confirmed?
Okay, so go ahead and ambientize.
yeah.
And then we need to run
We
the.
don't have to tear the old silk.
We can tear them right now if you want. Yeah.
Post a link in the Instagram description.
Okay.
No,
And then you gotta run the hot wire.
Alright.
Are you reading continuity and igniter?
I don't post links.
you are a boomer, dude.
I am in front of Instagram. I am a boomer.
No, we're not.
It would be better to change your bio link. That you can click on. Although
Hello, Rocket
then
fans.
obviously it'll go away.
Is it live?
Yes, it
Is the audio good?
Like the other link will obviously have to go away.
Hello, Rocket fans. Today in the workshop, we're hot firing our engine.
Still not continue.
We also
So what else is?
make an Instagram
So,
story, and then
progress.
have the swipe up
Progress of the
functionality.
hot fire is we have completed the leak checks. By the way, we've been working at this all day since the morning. So we've completed the leak checks, and now we are getting close to chilling in the liquid oxygen tank with liquid nitrogen.
No, I'm not.
We've already
Hold on. Let me-
we've already loaded fuel.
Not reading continuity.
Okay, you shouldn't be reading continuity through a multimeter. I'm pretty sure that's not how those work. No, you can.
You can read continuity on the board. Won't read continuity through our multimeter. It wants it to.
Reading 5.7.
We have the engine installed on the engine thrust stand, as you can see in the top left view. You can see our personnel working through some
Okay.
valve checkouts, some more valve checkouts, I think. And I think
Ready?
they might be installing the igniter right now.
No, we're not.
Yeah, we're ready.
Okay.
You have to do everything else though before you hot fire,
Yeah, arm.
and then you have to do all the
Can we post on Facebook?
logging
And it
status.
flash?
Yeah.
I don't have access to the Facebook.
Oh, what's Taylor
I always
doing?
forget. Wait, do I arm first? Or
It doesn't
wait?
matter.
Like,
Normally,
he
a net,
posting it?
normally a net first, and then
hope
start
so.
it.
I can try and contact him.
yeah. Would you be able to do that?
All right, auto sequence in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay.
Let him know it's
Like,
complete.
homework.
I think it's gone. Hold your hand.
Alright, we're at 10.5 volts here.
I in flash, right?
Yeah, click unflash
Yeah.
just once,
Yeah.
and then click send data.
Okay, we'll double check over here.
Sorry. So when this comes through, we gotta pull up the data. So we gotta go to the data folder. Still sending.
The LCD and the voltmeter is slow because of how cold it got.
Okay.
It's a lot of files. I think you should get another chair here.
That's okay.
Yeah.
Right now, this is fine. I don't mind.
Here we go.
But we're not gonna talk to the mic.
I don't know. We are.
Yeah. We can't just
I
be
don't know.
silent.
As Andrew desperately attempts to finish this 281 project.
It is. I
gave up
had
on
to
doing
update
it.
one line of code an hour ago. It's due tomorrow. So I got 2 more semesters.
Do you mind if I sit here if I MC?
What?
Do you mind if I sit here to MC?
Who's gonna MC?
Jack, how's it going?
Are you MCing?
I'm going to right now. So
We have 35 viewers.
we do have 35 viewers. So for those of us who are just joining us now, we are currently going to be. Well, what are we doing right now? Are we going to be filling in the LN2? Or are we coming?
about to be filling in.
Chilling. So we chill in the line and then fill in box.
Okay. Yeah, so right now we are going to be actually doing our LN2 chill-in before we fill in the liquid oxygen.
Right now we're doing
system.
some checkouts on the igniter.
Yeah, so yeah, right now we're just doing some igniter checkouts, making sure all of our auto sequence is working properly. So yeah, you can see that up on the stream. If anyone has any questions, just send a question into the chat and we would be happy to answer it. I am joined by my co-host, who is currently not on screen.
Where's the camera?
It's right
Like,
here.
I
Oh,
think
you
so
wanna shift it?
too.
Right here. My
Oh,
co-host,
I'm just
Cameron.
very far.
Yes, it is just not bright in here. Here we
Oh
go.
wait, you know what?
Oh, wait.
I have video. Oh yeah. Wait. One sec.
Ooh, big
Not right now, I don't think. If it doesn't, we'll plug it.
There we go. Yeah, so
Yeah,
I'm
so-
joined by my
We
co-host,
could do,
Cameron
Gelato.
Uchilata.
but request Instagram
Can't even see me. I
verification.
live in the shadows.
He's the Shadow Man.
I'm the shadow man. So, Andrew,
Yes?
where are we at, and what have we been doing all day?
Okay.
I
Nor, you gotta
just
finish
said
yours off right now.
What is that?
You said
Can you shut off your
where
thing?
what have we been doing all day?
Well, I didn't say we were doing all. I mean, like,
What have we been doing all
well,
day?
so
It should be
where we're at right now. I mean, I said where we're at right now, but everything that we did before was so we did some leak checks for our system, to make sure none of our fittings were leaking. Then we loaded. Sorry, I almost just dropped the mic. Then we loaded in our fuel, and now we are at our LN2 chill-in, which I already talked about. We're making pretty decent time. We expect possibly to be able to hot fire, but when do you think maybe?
I would say if the LN2 chill goes smoothly,
And we have the locks here.
yeah, we have the locks here. We might be able to hot fire like Possibly by 9.
Probably
if
around
things
9.
go if things go well. But
Does that sound all right?
what are we working on right now? So we see we got 4 people in the bunker.
Yeah.
There. Look like
Yeah, they're actually doing the igniter tests.
Oh, the igniter continuity
Yeah, just
tests.
like making sure everything's working.
Yeah, so why do we do the igniter continuity tests?
Because if our igniter doesn't work, then it's not gonna go off. But
So the voltage will be
Right.
slightly
Yes,
higher
yes. Yeah.
when
yeah,
valve
because
is
our igniter is the
when
thing
we
that
put it
makes
in
our
the battery,
rocket go,
obviously.
not
Also, I think it
boom,
will be
but
higher when we
turns
actually
on
plug
the
it in valve.
boom.
Yes, turns on the boom.
Turns on the boom.
So what's our igniter made of?
I actually don't know. What is it?
APCP.
APCP.
Ammonium, that's ammonium perchlorate composite propellant. So basically,
Do we want to just
that's
test it with
solid
a
rocket
new-
fuel. We have a little puck. Well, it's a pretty big puck.
But I thought this was a liquid rocket.
It's a pretty big puck of solid rocket fuel that we light off using an E-match. So actually, it's a pretty similar way to how amateur solid rockets are lit off with an E-match. But basically, we use that solid rocket to start our liquid rocket.
10.5.
Yeah,
Yeah.
10.5 is just the battery voltage in the board. Right now it's a
On the
little low.
connected chat. Please
During the
try
test, the
later.
battery
Let
voltage
me
is at
check out
10.6, so
my,
we're getting nothing better, obviously, across the valves.
I'll
when we
open
have
up the comments.
that. When the valves are not open and we're not testing, like right now. the
Sorry, we were
board
seeing that we are
is
unable to see
reading,
the chat, so we were going to refresh.
11.38 volts, but we have a
page.
new battery that can get up to like 12.6.
One sec.
I'm refreshing the page.
The chat is important because we want.
Oh,
people,
there we go.
We want people to
Whoa,
ask
we
us
got
questions.
we got a lot of chats. Hello. Now we can see the chat. We're not aware that we could not see the chat.
Okay,
I'm
so
gonna run to the bathroom.
Now we have live
that
chat.
pushes really
So we
quick,
can
and I'll be back in a little
we
bit.
can go
If
through
you
the
have I'll keep
questions,
the walk.
Yeah.
answer some people's questions.
Oh.
So, Andy Berger asked, "What's the temp out there?" It's actually doing
It's
pretty
actually
good.
pretty nice. It's around. I think it's around 30 degrees outside, which is.
No, it's more than that. It's like
Really?
it's like 40.
Are you getting
Really?
40
Yeah.
degrees.
No worries.
Yeah. We're
Oh wow! It's Oh wait, no, it's
39.
40 degrees.
Yeah, 39 degrees. It's
So it is
pretty
very, very nice considering it's
Very-
Michigan.
We're very happy.
Yeah.
Ethan Daniels asks, "Power on 1." That's
Minora,
correct,
can you
Ethan.
pause the GUI and
Power
restart with
on
the new
one.
run
We
for
always
L1
have to
to
power
show
on
you?
1.
So
Yes.
what changes have been
Also,
made
very
to prevent
careful.
valve
Obviously,
failures
don't click
from
valve
the last
26,
attempt?
else the igniter will go
So
we fixed
Yeah.
it.
yeah, we fixed it.
We fixed
we,
the problem,
we
and
did.
we cold flow tested the valve itself.
Very true. Yeah.
So
So
we
we
know it
actually
works.
took apart the valve that was the leaky valve, and we realized that there was actually some pretty glaring issues inside of it. So
Yes.
we found a new one. We had another one of the exact same type.
Oh yeah.
So we had another valve of the exact same type of valve in our workspace. So we made sure that one worked. So we switched it out. Performed a cold flow last weekend.
Yes.
Yeah, so we
that's-
performed a cold flow last weekend, and that determined that valve is good and should be good for hot fire. So that's that was really the only problem or one of the major problems that caused us to abort the test
Oh, yeah.
last time.
It's a very
Yeah.
adequate.
no,
Good question.
Let me log in as NASA Rockets on YouTube and
Yeah,
so I
you can send some comments.
respond to some comments.
And thank you, Matt Martinez, and and thank you, Project Kalis. I hope I'm saying that right.
Oh, that's the high school team.
Oh really?
That's the high school team that's doing liquid.
Oh nice.
Is that teaching?
And best of luck to you, Project Kalis.
The one you were talking to.
Don't know. I was talking to TJ. I don't know.
Tom Shepard.
Oh yes. I didn't know the acronym.
Yeah, TJ.
Yeah, so you can actually see a picture of the cold flow of the valve on Instagram. I'll grab a link and I'll post the link in the
Plug
comments.
the Instagram.
I'll plug the Instagram.
Okay, those are. Yes, we did.
We do.
Can I have that?
Are we
We're live
tweeting
right
at
now.
Elon?
Please.
I think we should. We should definitely tweet at Elon.
I don't
Can you
have
tweet at Elon?
Who has it?
I could.
No, no, no.
Will I?
Not massive.
I think you should.
Oh, I have the password.
Okay, let's see. Did we?
I think you should send the tweet out just now. Just why not?
Wait, where did we post the picture? Was it Facebook? Or did we not post it at all?
I don't know.
I remember seeing a picture of it. Oh, it was in the Alro slides. Shoot.
Nice.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I don't care.
So we won't have a picture of that test,
Unfortunately.
unfortunately. But it was a good test. So basically,
All went well.
yeah. So basically, the last aborted hot fire we had, I think it was 3 weeks ago. That was because of our liquid oxygen valve,
Tweet Elon Musk.
and we've fully fixed those issues and tested that our solutions worked, and the tests were successful. So we're pretty confident in that valve working here since we've tested it.
Yeah. And assuming all goes well with everything else, we should be able to perform a successful hot fire by the end of tonight. Well, by the end of this stream.
Yes. Hopefully by the end of the stream.
Hopefully, yes. Can confirm.
So definitely like and subscribe.
Like,
smash
comment,
that like button.
Smash that like button.
Hit that bell. Hit that alarm bell so that you get
share it to
notifications.
all of your friends. Like,
Share it to all your friends.
we're trying to get Elon Musk on this stream.
Yeah, that's
Good.
gonna happen.
Hey,
I keep
never
telling you.
doubt. Never doubt.
If we could get Scott Manley on the stream, that would improve.
that
Can people
would be-
tweet at Scott Manley?
Dude, let's just tweet. Like, why
We
not?
had, BPS
What will
Space
it do?
on
Oh,
last
all the
time.
time, yeah.
Yeah.
What do you say?
Like, what's the worst that could happen?
The worst thing, if we tweet at Elon,
Yeah.
we can get in trouble. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Elon is gonna personally come to us and get
Yeah,
angry.
that would actually be.
Mm-hmm. Alright, I'm just trying to post this link everywhere.
What is my phone at? I have to make sure I have battery. Oh, I'm at 19%. I need a phone charger. Does anyone have one?
What type?
iPhone.
Oh, no,
Actually, I have a USB-C to iPhone charger
Wow.
in my pocket that I forgot about. Cause, yeah. Maybe.
What did I do?
Well, you gotta tweet the link on the live stream.
Probably I haven't.
Because I don't want to plug it into that just in case.
Easy to like get it out.
Can I use that? Yeah, because I don't want to plug it in there just in case.
I wanna like get it out from here.
Engine, and then
You're so much closer.
onto the watch.
I mean, you
I
can
don't know
hand me your
where it
back.
is.
You can hand me your backpack and I can look through your backpack, but
So heavy.
All right.
I don't know if
where pocket is it?
that's an acceptable
No,
reference
not in the
to have
pocket.
on the Michigan page.
Watchers fire our
So what's the
ethanol
best
logs,
way for people to see
Or just our
info about the rest of our project?
masa.engin.umich.edu.
So basically, if you just Google NASA rockets, you can find our website.
liquid.
You know what? Maybe I'll post the
Don't worry, I
website.
can't find
Yeah,
it.
so I'll post the website link in the comments.
Oh, talk about how we're doing for the.
Yeah, you gotta talk about how we're breaking the record.
Yeah, so if anyone's wondering how much thrust we're going for on this test, we're planning to get 3,500 pounds of thrust, which will be the collegiate record for a liquid rocket engine.
I can't find it.
Why? It's
Sorry. So last spring we hot fire tested twice this engine, and we got up to 2,200 pounds of thrust. We had some issues with our propellant feed system that was preventing us from getting to full thrust. So we've changed our systems and updated them so that we can get full pressure, and we'll be going for 3,500 pounds. Only one team has gotten more than 2,200. That's the Burt G rocket team. So we're looking to break that record today.
Okay, so this first.
I found it.
All right, well, let me drop
Is there anybody at Mission?
our website on the.
yes, I am.
All right, our website is in the live chat.
I bought a packet of Oreos. Anyone wants?
Can you plug this in there? Sorry. Yeah, you're good.
Thank you.
Yes, manage the sound.
Yes, stream is. We're live.
What's the status?
No, we're
Hang
just
on, the board is
doing
not
some
connected
checkouts
right now. I'm
with
gonna
installing
reconnect it.
Yes. The live stream wants Oreos too.
There's Oreos?
Minori! Alright, if you guys have any questions, drop them in the comments. We read the comments continuously, so we'll answer your questions. Report. Report.
Sorry. That was my bad.
Yes, like Niter is showing continuity.
Wait, the igniter's showing continuity now?
Okay, now what should the sub
Yes,
be
it
that
is.
Elon Musk-
I
that's
don't
up
think that alcohol references.
Battery voltage is at
for- What
12.4.
should be the set?
Probably something about the collegiate record.
Well, that's in the original.
Say we had your starship or something.
Is this being filmed from the laptop?
Yeah, the bunker, or the tent view, yeah. Also, does anyone have Teo's phone number?
Get it from
Can we call him and get him to post on Facebook?
Actually, it's on Schwab. I don't know how to say.
Any updates with the next engine? Ah, gosh. Don't allow. Okay, we're just gonna. Can you plug us in?
Ethan asks any updates with the next engine. So, the next engine is we're going to be going through a design review with one of our industry partners, and
Because I
after
need
that,
to charge my
I think
phone.
we'll be doing.
I'm hosting the stream on my phone.
Hey guys, please. We're gonna be doing one more design review with some of our faculty, and then after that, there might be some tweaks to make on the engine, but we plan to
unplug.
get into manufacturing of the engine shortly after. And the new engine we're working on is, I'm not quite sure of the thrust level. I think it's around maybe 3,700 pounds of thrust. Not quite sure, but RP
That is the.
3,650. That's the new engine we're building.
What is that?
That's going to be manufactured in maybe kick off manufacturing in the next few months, and yeah. But as far as design updates, the design has been pretty static lately. I think we're kind of finishing up analysis, but we're mostly just awaiting doing some design reviews. All right, what kind of data do you get from the test stand? So we get a lot of data from the test stand. Some of the most critical things are the thrust measurements. We have 3 load cells behind the engine which measure thrust. We basically sum the values from 3 load cells to get total thrust. That's one of the most crucial measurements that we take. But we have maybe between 15 and 30 pressure transducers, temperature sensors, and various measurements that we take on the tanks. Basically, every pressure vessel on the system has a pressure transducer on it, and multiple different points in the engine have pressure transducers on it. It's important to know. It's important to know basically what pressure we have in the entire system, since that's indicative of the performance. And we usually fill the tanks by looking at the pressures and whatnot. And yeah, that's the data that we gather. All the data is being processed through our in-house built engine controller, which is currently behind the bunker running. So that's how we gather the data. So how long is the burn expected to be in this test? So the burn is going to be 2 seconds duration. For reference, the tests we did last year in the spring, those were about 1 second duration each. So now we're upping it to 2 seconds. This has been our goal for the last few hot fire attempts. So this is, I think, our 3rd hot fire attempt in the semester. We've had some issues with the last few attempts that we've been working through. The reason why the last test was aborted was because the main liquid oxygen valve that feeds liquid oxygen into the engine, that was leaking at higher pressures. It was leaking very fast, so we weren't able to properly pressurize the tank, and we needed to fix the leak. So that has been fully fixed and tested. Last weekend we actually did a cold flow of the system through the valve. We flowed liquid nitrogen out the valve to test that it worked, and that we were able to cold flow that up to full pressure. Yeah.
It's okay.
Can I sit here? You're not even emceeing.
I know, it's because I'm just trying to. Because if my phone dies, the stream dies. Because I'm hosting it.
Oh.
Yeah.
Can you plug it in anywhere?
That's what we're trying to do. That's why I've been quiet. Yeah. There is no. Yeah. That's why I've just not been talking.
Does someone have a car? Yeah, does someone have a car?
No, if it gets too.
Go to the closest store to buy an extension cord.
No, we do have an extension cord
Where?
up there, but
It's being used,
we
right?
don't have the.
It's probably being used, right?
No, I saw only there, but like we don't have a plug here,
Okay.
and there's not enough space there.
Kroger or the Kroger might have it. Kroger to get extension cord.
There's an
not
extension
extension cord. No, a split
lying
power.
near.
Power split, like that duck build.
Power splitter. Yeah, so we can plug
Yeah.
more stuff.
Power
Okay.
strip.
Power strip.
A power strip.
Protect.
Can you
Um,
can you go to further and get one? that feels
I
spark?
literally saw an extension code right there.
Okay, no. Power split. Not an extension cord. Power. We need power split. Like that.
But we can
I
put
don't.
an extension cord here.
You
Plug
need a-
this out.
You need a splitter. I don't believe that we have a. It's quicker to send somebody to go buy one than to rummage around.
I mean, I can also just plug this into my computer.
Okay, yeah. Do that for now.
Also, turn your flashlight off.
Yes,
That is draining the battery.
Yes, definitely. All right, yeah, we're fine. All right. Yeah. Sorry, that was.
Also, guys, we are going to try to keep the tent somewhat clear, and if you're not working on the live stream or hotfire ops,
I can give you this back then.
I might ask you
Thank
to
you.
step out since it
Yeah,
gets
I also-
increasingly busy.
I also want to move this
Yeah.
chair up here now, so Minori, if you can scoot yours forward and do
No,
chair
you
as
can
far
stand
as
right
possible.
outside
I'm
the
gonna
tent.
sneak this
But
one
basically
in.
just,
I think that might mean that you need to move your legs. I just
No.
want it
Can we
to
have-
be
can we have-
in
can
the
we
way
have
it's
line
gonna
of
be
sight
for
to the
hot fire.
No, when I was firing. We'll do a whole announcement of what we do.
I'll scoot over to you, Minori.
There'll be a whole
Just give me a second.
Maybe out
Yeah,
silver
it does get pretty hectic in here, and we have people standing. Yeah.
Okay, we're good for now. Yeah. Sorry, that was just why I was like super quiet for a little bit.
What's the status of the bunker right now?
Why don't you move the mic up?
Oh, yeah, that was not the stuff, I think.
Really?
Sorry, cameraman. Cut me off. Okay. All right. So, what is the engine controller processor? Is it like an Arduino or something? Also, how many data points do you get per second with this setup?
It's an STM F442 microcontroller.
So yeah, I don't know if you heard that, but it's an STMM. You said?
STM microcontroller.
STM microcontroller, and what's the data rate for that? For like,
10?
So you told them about power split. Right?
so yeah, so we think it's around 10 megabits per second. So we don't know. But that's generally what it is.
Yes. Yes. All right. Rocket fans.
Did you answer the Neil Trumper's original question?
Yes. What is the duration?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I just want to make sure.
Oh, actually, no, I did max duration, but the comments say.
I mean, yeah, Keon and Ikil answered that. Does it just keep dying?
I don't want this to be too close to it.
So we can just push it back a little bit more.
Yeah, and I push it back and then it turns off. Yeah, it's a safety mechanism. Great, but also something.
Dang safety mechanisms. So, in theory, I was told at one point we could get 2 kilohertz.
Is it posted on the Facebook yet?
Someone was supposed to tell Theo.
Can someone please call Teo? Can you be able to call Teo?
Sure.
Or someone who might have the Facebook.
Do you guys need anything else in the program?
Ask in the hotfire channel.
Okay.
Postage question.
Yeah.
Okay.
What was I gonna say? But there were some problems that limited that, but I can't remember the details.
Oh yeah.
What are your thoughts on team using HTP kerosene turbofed propulsion systems?
Turbofan? What?
Turbofed propulsion systems.
So turbofed propulsion is a pretty. Here, do you mind if I move the mic over here? So I
Yeah.
Turbo pumps are pretty extreme, especially for the amateur level. It would make for a more efficient rocket. We would be able to get some more performance out of the rocket. It could be more lightweight. We could get the mass fraction to be better, but it would be an extreme technical challenge, and it's kind of a crazy extra project to deal with the Base 11 Space Challenge. So we're not doing turbo pumps or any pumps because that would be an extreme challenge of its own. So it could theoretically be built by amateur students, but it's just kind of beyond what we want to take on.
Don't let
So
me down, Johnny.
the alternative is having a pressure-fed system where the tanks are able to hold the full pressure that the engine needs, so the tanks just feed the full pressure right away. Whereas if you had a pump, you could have the tanks at a very low pressure, and then the pumps would increase the propellant pressure into the engine. That's how most industry rockets are configured. Oh, this actually lets more air in.
Yeah, I know.
This
It's
actually
like
lets
literally,
more
it's
breathe
creating
in,
airflow.
Yeah, because this is higher up now.
This is very cold.
Oh, Neil was asking what are our thoughts on other teams using HTP kerosene turbofed propulsion.
Oh, yeah.
Wait, what teams are...
Yeah.
Wait, so HTP kerosene... What's HTP? Is that... I know HTPB. High... Oh, that's high test peroxide. Oh, that's high test peroxide, that's that's basically hydrogen peroxide. I think that's pretty crazy. Other teams tend to do that. No teams have actually successfully demonstrated those systems.
So Portland's electric pumps.
Yeah. Thoughts
so
on Portland's electric pumps? I think I haven't actually seen many details about Portland's electric pumps. I think that's a great endeavor. Definitely a challenging one, and I would expect some lengthy. Development time for that.
And so other than thrust pressure and temperature, is there anything else you measure?
Wait, do you need extension cords?
No, a power splitter.
Like, what do you mean?
Like a plug that has 5 outlets.
Oh, we probably have more than this.
Yeah, we actually don't measure. Well, we don't measure temperature right now, do we?
Yes, we do. We measure temperature on a few points on the end. Maybe one point
Oh,
on the
now I
engine,
hear-
and
now
a
I
few points
hear
in
you.
the LOX-Ethanol.
Right now, I don't think we have.
On the engine, yes.
Not earlier?
We don't have any RTD.
No, we don't. Yeah.
I don't know about
We haven't-
RTD.
No,
we have
were
a
you
temperature
talking to
sensor
me?
on the end.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure we do.
Yeah, we've been trying to give you
We only have pressure.
Not right
yeah.
now.
Is it
Yeah. So
not
we actually only
Is
have
there support
yeah.
Oh, okay. So I guess we're not measuring temperature. That's weird. I thought we were.
Yeah. So we
So
are. We actually only are measuring thrust and pressure.
Would you be able
Oh
to
yeah,
scoot
I was scooting over because everyone had just gives me
Or
a
like can't even talk.
I
Yeah.
think the battery on the other one was dying or something. That might have been.
When I like
closer.
let's see. Let's
Nice and
get
close.
this.
Yeah.
So
What teams are using pumps or have gotten? Someone else asked that.
There, for the record, no teams have ever gotten. I don't think teams have gotten pumps to work like in a high capacity. I think there have been a few teams that have tested some sort of pump at some level, but there has never been an engine that's run off a pump-fed system. So there might be teams working on pumps, but no teams that I'm aware of have actually tested successfully an engine-fed pump, which is the ultimate test that you need to, get there. So yeah, Portland's electric pumps. That sounds really cool. I would be very excited to see a successful test with those. So yeah, I'll be crossing my fingers for that successful test. So yeah, what teams are using pumps? I think Portland's working on them. No, I wouldn't say anyone's using pumps, as in like operating them currently.
Yeah.
And
I guess
no
we
one's-
technically use a pump to fill our.
Yeah.
We technically use a pump to fill our.
Our tanks.
Our tanks.
Yeah.
So technically, most teams probably.
Yeah.
Someone who was just kind of chilling and looked for the small webcam that we had pointed at the bunker last time. It would be cool to get that view on.
That would be very nice.
What do you ask for?
The bunker webcam. The camera that we had pointed at the bunker.
That's not where it is. No, not you. They were talking about a bunker webcam.
Yeah, drop your questions in the chat. We're reading the chat. We're answering all the
Oh,
questions.
nice.
Yeah.
Oh, thank goodness.
Well, we have another power cord. Minari, do we have another power cord?
Yeah, Stuart. I think Portland University. That's the one we're talking about.
Starting
Actually-
the stream, but haven't even chilled the locks yet.
Who's Is that your friend?
Me?
Is Caleb your friend?
No, I don't know who that is.
Oh.
Did we learn nothing about timing from locks?
I think it might be Jack's friend, actually.
Well, Caleb, you're the one that tuned in.
That is true.
You're the one who's
That's
watching
the
our
first
video.
time I heard from
You don't have to do
in a
that.
while.
This stream is not just for you all. This is also for recording our the process as well as.
Also, we have other members in other places watching this.
Yeah,
that
exactly.
Can give feedback. So, but also, kind of a strategic thing with live streams is if you post a live stream and you're 5 minutes from hot firing, there will be about 10 people who see it.
Exactly.
You need to start your live stream well in advance so that people can.
USB webcam?
Don't worry about it. Tell me, can't worry about it right now.
Jack said don't worry about it right now.
Also, the time that we actually
Awesome.
the time that we actually hot fire is very hard to nail down. So, best case we might be 1 hour from hot firing. Worst case we might be 4 hours from hot firing. It's really very difficult to tell. And if we run into any issues, then we need to take more time, fix them. We're gonna leave the live stream running the whole time.
Yes.
But
Are you responding to Caleb's comments?
yes.
Yes.
Is that your Yes. Caleb should go study for his 3 exams next week.
Oh,
That's what
Caleb.
Caleb should do.
Oh boy.
I agree with Jack. What Pop-Tart flavor?
No, we're not gonna answer
Caleb's my
that.
roommate.
We're not answering that.
Dan.
When are you expecting to do the stage test? And so I think the stage test is referring to a full
Like a full
propulsion
duration,
system
yeah.
stacked test. That's pretty far out.
We got some time, one could say, because
We would need full propellant tanks, plumbing between all of them, set up to hold the entire thing.
One of them is not working.
Yeah, so that's I would not expect that any time in the next 1 year. Probably.
Yeah.
That's far out.
Because this engine isn't even our full flight engine. Hey Jack.
Yes.
Here for a sec. Does that look crooked to you?
What? The nozzle?
Yeah.
I mean, the camera's slightly fisheye because look at the boards.
Oh,
They
true.
curve- yeah, they curve
Did you
upwards.
install the boards crooked?
Is the entire bunker wrong?
The bunker is wrong.
Dan McGuire, you make me sad. Where's Jack?
Jack just left it.
His friend is very active.
Yeah. Oh, let us know when you guys are ready.
Does anyone have a power strip? Because Kroger doesn't sell them.
We have power strip now.
Do we?
Yeah.
Where is it? I want it in my hand.
What? Why?
What? Wait, no. Is it over here?
Yeah.
We set it up?
Yeah. My phone is charged.
What? You didn't say that. They're still at Kroger.
Oh.
Who's getting what at Kroger?
A power strip.
Oh my
Because we don't have any, but apparently we do.
Oh, we do, yeah. Well, Nora said we did.
But oh, sorry. There's so many times where like someone thinks we have something, but like
Just saw it, like,
Don't worry about it.
and it's faster just to go buy one. And we need them anyway.
What's the status down there right now?
god. They're switching houses.
Is this March? Oh, that's March. Okay. Yes. So it looks like we are about to connect the liquid nitrogen dewar to our fill system so that we can begin filling the liquid nitrogen and chilling in our tanks so that we can then load in liquid oxygen. What are those two massive dewars you got there? As I just said, those are the liquid nitrogen dewars.
We're probably gonna do the same thing with the chairs, where we get rid of all the chairs.
Yeah, that's
To be
what
honest with you.
Although the tent is big enough.
The tent is
What are you hoping to learn from this test? And if it goes quote unquote perfect, what will be the next step? So the next steps after this test, assuming it goes well, will be to
Hot fire longer.
hot fire longer, like
3 or 4 seconds, maybe?
extend our durations up to 3, 4, 5, and then eventually to the maximum duration of this tank stand, which would be 8 seconds. And then after that, we hopefully should have our new engine machine.
Wait, let me add my
And then we
Load 'em,
will
load 'em, load 'em.
proceed to go
Load 'em.
to higher. We will create a new tank
Is the system
stand.
still in ambient?
We will hopefully have a new test site, and we will be testing longer durations so that we can eventually
When I say
test
load
to
'em, you
full
gotta click
duration
Okay.
Otherwise, you're gonna
hot
overwrite
fire
the
testing.
We'll have to redo the whole thing.
Okay.
Did you say that we're looking for to get engine
We also
efficiency
gotta
out of this
fix on
test?
that fill system
To
camera. It still needs
figure
to
out what our
be
injector
able to
efficiency
fire
is.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
I didn't answer the first
Yeah,
part.
basically, by looking at the pressures throughout the entire system, through the tanks, mainly the pressure the injector's being fed, the pressure we get in the combustion chamber, and the thrust we get, we can compare that to what we would expect, and then we can, from that, determine what our injector and combustion efficiency is. And that's a really important metric for us. That way that can help us predict how efficient the RP1 engine will be, so we can have kind of a baseline for that. Maybe we can learn something to improve for the RP1 engine. Yeah.
Overall, everything we get from this stuff is going to
But
be very
mostly,
useful.
this is kind of a test of the propellant feed system and the valves. Since the engine has already been tested to 1 second duration, we're pretty darn sure it's going to be fine for 2 seconds. So it's mostly a test of the entire ground system, avionics, controls, auto sequences, valves, tanks, regulators, things like that. The engine will start showing some stress maybe at between 4 and 8 seconds. That's when it'll really start being challenged, and so we'll see how hard we can push the engine.
Actuating HES and GO3 and GO5 in 3, 2, 1. You could also count them down, or I could just tell them.
Okay, yeah,
Either way.
I'll
Just one walkie. I'm gonna have the walkie. You just gotta do one walkie. It's too hard to do 2 walkies.
Oh, are you guys gonna like hold it here so I will like
He's
I
gonna
can talk?
Yeah, well, I could just talk. Yeah, you can do that too.
You're gonna be the button presser. He's gonna relay things. It's a better way to safe check. Imitating this.
How long is this cable? Where's it plugged in at? Oh, can you take it up from around?
Yeah, I was just doing it around.
Okay, I'm gonna put it over here.
There you go. There you go.
That way we can both talk to it.
You fit an astronaut in that tiny little thing.
I'm okay right now.
There's not going to be an astronaut in there?
No, we are not.
Can you scroll up on the pressure?
We are not Copenhagen Suborbitals. Hello, rocket fans. Welcome to the rocket shop. No, we're not Copenhagen. We're not trying to put any living things in the rocket. This rocket is purely, there's no payload either. Really, the payload is the altitude.
The friends we made on the way.
The payload is the altitude verification electronics that we're sending to space to verify that the rocket got that high. The whole point of this rocket is to get it to space. The point of this is not to launch some sort of experimental payload. This is all about the rocket.
Top 24 is acting up again. I have no continuity.
Although we will have some little fun lightweight payloads like stickers, maybe some customized playing cards for the members. Or if you donate like $500, we'll give you one.
GoFundMe. Send it to space.
Yeah, send it to space.
This is far
Yeah.
downish.
That's fine, that's fine.
Any luck with that?
No, trying to unplug and replug and then jiggling it around a little bit.
So the 2 doers that we have behind the
already answered
bunker.
that one.
Oh, okay. Yeah, those are liquid nitrogen doers.
The engine's
No,
name
you
is
should be okay.
PT-163.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's the name.
that is the name.
That's the name. And the next one is going to be RPD2. That's the kerosene engine.
Oh,
That's
it
RP1.
did it one like for 1 second.
It's flickering on us, but right now.
What
it's
about a
not good.
university mascot?
We
Oh,
definitely need to fix this one.
Our university does have a mascot. It's a Wolverine.
Yeah. Do you remember the
It
name of it?
died during the.
I know there's a name
That'd be
for it,
okay.
but I
Oh.
don't remember.
Yeah, it's great.
Leave it there. Leave it there.
Yeah.
Michigan Wolverine. Yo, I have blue shift playing cards. That's pretty cool. I want blue shift playing cards.
Other ones are okay. Yeah.
PSM.
Did Teo
Yeah.
post it to Facebook?
It's good right there.
I
Just leave it there.
contacted him. I don't know if he responded.
Did you call
Is he
him?
the only one with the
If we
login?
could secure
You gotta
that by
call
taping
him.
it somehow, that'd be fantastic. So it doesn't move around during the hot fire at all.
Oh, can we put the links to our social media in the live stream description?
Yeah,
Okay, that's
they
all right
are.
then.
they are.
Are they? Nathan Smith asked about it.
Let's see what's going on.
Like our website, our Facebook, or Instagram.
Alright. I don't know, what should I say? Like, just visit us at.
Yeah, but do you know the links?
I know masa.engin.umich.edu.
Okay. All right, send us more questions. We're happy to answer them. All right. So how many companies?
Camera.
What? You should probably just go to the website and check, and get the Instagram, Facebook. How are you able to get so many companies to sponsor you, and what sort of ways do they sponsor you? Well, first, I'm gonna have to shout out our sponsors in the description of the video. Go check out the description, and you can see who's sponsoring us. Let's actually check that out. So we've got our Thermosphere
Come down
tier
really quick and take a
sponsors:
look at it.
University of Michigan, Kulite, Monster Tools. Mesosphere tier sponsors: we got Boeing and Michigan Office of the President.
Yeah.
Stratosphere tier, we have Graphite Store, Rego,
We lost
Siemens, Raytheon, XWinder, Northrup Grumman, Haltermann Solutions, OmegaOne, Schwab Industries, CCTVCameraWorld. Shout out, we're streaming mostly off of CCTVCameraWorld cameras. We got Leading Edge Fabrication,
Okay,
A1
well, right
Roll
now it's
Co,
not
Alro Steel,
continuous.
Superior Heat
Can I
Treat
just
Co.
come down and
I
take a
don't
look?
have Facebook. What's their Facebook
Just
page?
go to just Google NASA Facebook.
What's up? Oh, she said yes.
All right, those are
There's
all our
two. I don't know if
sponsors.
everything's up.
Thanks for the reminder. Plug our sponsors. So, as far as how do we get so many sponsors? It's basically we cold call a lot of companies and ask them. Basically, we cold call companies that we want to sponsor us, and we tell them about ourselves. Tell them what we're up to, what we're trying to accomplish. We tell them what results we've gotten in the past. It's really important when you're getting a sponsorship for the companies to see that you've actually built stuff, since there are many teams that are claiming they're building a space rocket, but if you have past results, past technically advanced rockets that you've flown, that's something that speaks for you, and the companies can actually see you, actually launching a space rocket or whatever your current project is. So you want to show off what you've done in the past. Also, a lot of our sponsors are companies that do services for a heavy discount or for free. So some of our manufacturing is done. Some of our advanced manufacturing is done for free at some of our partner companies, and we're really grateful for that, because some things are just too difficult to machine in-house, like our injector plate. So yeah, some companies, we don't ask them for money, we just ask them for services. Hey, can you CNC machine this, or can you roll this tank tube? And a lot of times they're really excited to help us out, because we have a cool project. And yeah, another thing is having a really nice website that showcases everything you're working on, and everything you've built in the past, and videos and whatnot. We have our business lead put together a really nice website, and that's something that when we call a sponsor, they're able to just on their own, Google Massa Rockets. They can find our website, and they can see everything we're up to. So having a good website is part of it. So what clearance do you need when you actually launch? So the launch process is a very detailed one. You need to provide a lot of documentation showing that your rocket will launch where you say it will launch, and will land where you say it will land. And that's about a 9-month process to go through with the FAA to actually get a launch waiver. So that's something that we will be starting eventually. About 9 months before our designated launch window, we'll be filing paperwork. So basically, it's a special waiver with the FAA that allows you to launch to that altitude. It's a very kind of special waiver there.
Thanks, Massive Peeps. No problem.
Yeah, drop any other questions you guys have.
Alright, Teo's posting a link on Facebook.
Okay, cool. Thank you. And subscribe if you want to get automatic notifications when we're live. Definitely go and subscribe and click the notification bell on our channel. That way you'll get.
The phrase is smash that like button.
Oh yeah, smash that like button. What's going on in the bunker right now?
Non-continuous again on our end.
They are in the bunker. I actually don't know what they're doing. We can listen into some radio chat.
They are currently dealing with some issues that we were having with our engine core.
No, the harness.
One of the harnesses.
One of our
harnesses
harnesses that attaches to the engine controller is experiencing some chief engineer
No,
jack.
they're just securing it in place so it doesn't get damaged by vibrations.
Yeah.
Yep, it's currently reading continuous.
So yeah, we're securing some of the avionics right now.
Yeah, so we actually
Copy
should
that.
be starting the LNT chilling right after we fix.
Yeah, so let me know if it
We
changes
attach
at all.
this harness. So yeah, get excited.
I am excited.
Yeah.
All right. And then yeah, I think soon we're gonna begin LN2 chill.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the injector is difficult to make. The orifice size, I think, is on the order around 50 thou diameter.
You can talk about this.
Yeah, so
This is our injector.
yes, so for the new RPD2 engine, the largest we're gonna have is about 90 thou, but they're approximately about like 50 thou. PT-163, they're a little bit smaller, probably around 40 thou. But RPD2 is a much larger engine, so we step it up a little bit.
Yeah, and idle broadcast, no, that is not a LOX doer. Those are both just liquid nitrogen doers.
Yeah.
And then we have a smaller LOX doer that you'll see when we begin loading LOX into the system.
So what mass do we eventually hope to launch? Well, right now we're not launching any significant payload. What we're launching is the rocket and the avionics to verify our altitude. There have been conversations about, if we successfully launch this, do we want to keep launching and add some payload mass? That might be a thing. A useful amount of payload mass is around 30 to 50 pounds. That's something that you can actually build a real quality payload out of that can do some science. But right now, we're not looking at doing any payload. That's kind of just a future thing that you might be considering after the Base 11 challenge.
Alright, so TC asks, how did you plan it? Unlike doublets, triplets? They're talking about the injector.
Oh, yeah.
So for PT-163, we actually use, unlike triplets, so it's going to be one oxidizer with 2 fuels impinging. We decided to switch that up a little bit for several design considerations that I won't get too far into right now. But for RPD2, we're going to be using doublets.
You say that's not horrible. Well, one 50 thou hole drilled perpendicular to your piece might not be horrible, but if you drill hundreds of holes at various angles and you can't mess up a single one of them, or else you have to scrap your injector, that's pretty difficult. So that's why we have that done out of house.
So, thank you, Ben. Is your control system as simple as just opening and closing valves, or do you have something more complex? So for these initial tests, like for this hotfire test, it's basically just like opening and closing valves, and yeah, it's basically just opening and closing valves, and then the one non-opening / closing valve thing that we have is the
We're good
starter,
now.
the igniter.
The mic is over here, by the way. Don't forget.
It'll still pick it up.
Oh, okay.
Is the igniter.
So it wasn't damaged.
Oh, so
Sorry, I don't
we
know
misunderstood the question. So mass is the rocket minus fuel. So we're looking at a dry mass of, I think we're looking at a dry mass of about 450 to 500 pounds. That's the weight of the rocket before we fuel it. And then we're going to be fueling it with about 650 to 700 pounds of fuel. So, what's your favorite type of injector? All of them. They're all great.
F1 injector.
Coaxial swirl is the best one.
You have
in my
490
opinion.
pre-pressure.
Oh, and Akil seems to think the same.
Coaxial swirl, nice.
Akil and I are both working on the injector.
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay, in 3, 2, 1. We're about to.
So yeah, we're about to actually start running our LN2 chilling.
50 in the tank.
LN2 chilling is beginning. Are we going to be opening those valves soon to flow the LN2? Yes.
The timeline will be updated shortly.
All right, this is a major step.
Copy, actuating for another 5
towards,
seconds. In 3,
hot firing.
2, 1. 84. You want us to go for another 3 seconds?
You're asking about our rocket avionics. We have some custom in-house.
Okay, going for another 3 in 3, 2, 1.
Oh, pounds is unit of force. Well, pound force is a unit of force, and pound mass is a unit of weight.
Alright,
So
116 in the tank.
450 pounds dry weight, I guess. But yes, pounds is a very common metric.
So we are starting our LN2 chill in.
Copy that. Keep you posted afterwards.
Our chamber pressure.
I think it's like F3 or something.
No, it's 1 and 3.
Well, yes, weight is a
And
force.
it's not working?
Yeah, it's just reset. Because
Weight is a force, but you can still measure your rocket weight in pounds. I don't know why our use of pounds is so controversial. I think it's a pretty standard thing to do, is measuring the weight of an item in pounds. Well, standard in the U.S. Falcon 9 is measured in pounds.
That is absolutely not true.
What?
we are not at leak checks, it's just our...
are done in pounds. You're dead wrong.
Can you get it to move forward?
I'm trying, yeah. It's like it's in the setting of that, but it's just not doing it.
All right, chamber pressure is about 450 psi for this
It's
engine.
number pad 1 and 3.
Yeah, I'm on number pad.
Is num lock?
Jared, this engine won't go boom. It will go, well, I don't know how to make the sound, but it will thrust. It'll thrust for about 2 seconds. There will be no boom. What is your favorite engine cycle? Full flow stage combustion.
That's a gimme.
No, I like quarter flow stage combustion.
Gas
One-
expander school.
1/8.
Oh yeah, gas
This
expander.
doesn't have to
Tap
be
off.
hands at
Tap off
roughly
is a
108
really
right
neat
now, so it's holding
cycle,
nicely.
I think.
Sounds good. We're just showing any systems about.
Copy that. We should start doing like over and out. Over and out.
SI is objectively better.
When will it go boom?
We actually do a good amount of our calculations in SI.
Get the
Yeah, so we're LN2 chilling. We'll probably LN2. Yeah, we're LN2 chilling. Disconnect.
Boom. Yep, that's the sound it's gonna make.
I don't know what we did. We'll then drain it out. Actuate the valve once or twice after it chills in. So we'll leave the tank open. We'll drain it out. Actuate the main pump once or twice to make sure it's copy opening. Once that happens, we'll know the valve is good. We'll then go ahead and fill LOX. We'll wait for fluid out the dip tube. Once fluid comes out of the dip tube, we know the tank is full. We'll stop filling. Then we will pressurize fuel. Once fuel is pressurized, then we will re-top off LOX, so just get a tiny bit more fluid in the tank. And then after that, we basically just press up LOX and then move it. So the first hot fire attempt that didn't go.
What was the goal
First
for
hot fire
engine
attempt
thrust
that
in
didn't
this
go.
test? So we are aiming for max
I don't know which
thrust
one.
on this test today.
Second
That
one.
is
3,500.
3,500. So that is 3,500 pounds.
Also, that's 15,400 newtons of force. If
First
we're
time
one
we
inch.
started pressurizing.
15,000.4.
We started
US
purging
customary for
when we
promotion.
started pressurizing the tanks up, and then that's when the burst was through. Yeah. So that was the first time. Second time.
What does that mean?
MPV
Promote,
through at
customary or
final
promotional?
press of LOX at 300 psi.
Michigan Space Agency.
Don't really understand that question.
Neither do I.
Pneumatic vent, correct?
Yeah, so the thrust measurement is basically
Okay, actuating
the
LOX fill vent
engine
in 3, 2,
is
1.
mounted on linear sliders,
So we're starting to-
which which forces the engine
there's fluid flowing from the door now.
nicely into our 3 load cells.
But,
The 3 load cells measure the force on each of them. We sum the 3 of them to get the total thrust, and
you initialize the board to like get
Yeah,
its
the S-beam load cell.
And so you can now see on this
And then afterwards,
stream,
it's
we are currently
We should be-
filling in our liquid nitrogen from our LO2 doer.
We got-
You can see that connection is
We
getting
got
very, very cold.
2 attempts on us
as
if
it
there's a
is
small
filling
problem.
with-
I don't think you're talking
Anything
loud
more
enough.
than
All right,
small
all right.
I think
Basically, okay, we're not worried about fuel
What's that?
cooling up
Yeah,
because
so we
we
would
have
probably
such a
stop
powerful igniter. We have an extremely powerful igniter, and that turns on before any propellant is flowed in. So even if we have just liquid fuel and no oxidizer, the fuel is instantly burned up and nothing has a chance to pool. So there's no issues with horizontal testing. We've been doing horizontal testing for several years in various configurations.
yeah.
So if the test is not successful, we would probably stay in hotfire mode because it's too much to burst.
Yeah, high test peroxide is. Hello.
No, I'm seeing if the audio is working.
So like last week, or like whenever we
I'll just talk louder. It's fine.
So yeah, high test peroxide. I guess it has its benefits, but I wouldn't say high test peroxide makes it any easier. And having a turbine, I think, is having a turbine that generates power on a shaft to pump your fluid. I think that is significantly more complex. Having high velocity spinning components in your assembly, I'd say that's a lot more difficult than just simply pressurizing your tanks with external fluid. And high test peroxide is actually pretty hazardous. You can get that to if you have thermal runaway in a tank of high test peroxide, you can have that explode, like full on explode. Whereas liquid oxygen is pretty stable in its liquid form in a dewar. So.
Did you guys chill in the post check valve needle valve?
What do you do to prevent hard starts when you ignite?
Yeah, I would say high test peroxide with a turbine is just about the last thing we would ever use for our rocket, to be honest. I don't think we'd ever use a turbine on something like this.
TC asks what the igniter is. It's not necessarily an SRB, but it uses the same material. It uses APCP, so ammonium perchlorate composite propellant. Yeah, we just light that with an E-match in our auto sequence when we're ready to light.
That we caused like 2.5 failed hotfire attempts last year, where a check valve that's high flow rate. So like, are you familiar with both the check valves, like how they function, right? Okay. Well, a check valve is basically you have high pressure behind it and lower pressure in front of it, and it will cause like there's a spring there. So it's open one-way. It's a one-way valve, right? So if there's high pressure over here, it won't go back, right? But all check valves are the same amount of pressure.
Yeah, no, we're not.
Testing.
Cade can't hear because he's not have the audio on.
Okay.
I need the mic over
That would
here.
be so sad.
I need the mic over here.
Been working.
No, people are answering.
Yeah.
They're responding to us.
So last year, we were flowing pretty
I'm
slow.
working on HTTP right now, and it's a huge hassle. Avoid it at all costs. Hey.
Less than a 1 PSI pressure through the valve. Like you lose that much.
What'd you say?
Talking about
I'm going to turn on another nitrogen cylinder in the manifold.
Copy that. So we had you have high pressure initially, the valve will open, then you have high pressure both here. They're doing
The CEO of masa on cam. The CEO. Got the CEO here. Represent.
Oh, yes.
The frequency is incredibly high.
Oh, chillin' has begun.
Those are my friends.
Wait, so hold on. Why is the progress marker past chillin'?
Because LN2 chilling. So when we go start doing
That looks like we've done it already.
that's what we do. We mark it when we're currently doing it.
Okay. So we're currently
We are currently
filling
in
liquid nitrogen.
liquid nitrogen.
I guess if you treat your parts with nitric acid, then yeah, but high test peroxide is not an elegant solution.
So every once in a while you'll get a transient where it starts.
It's a pretty
so you have to play around.
peroxide is a pretty non-standard thing. It's been used in some launch vehicles and in some situations, but standard liquid oxygen with a liquid fuel is a much more commonly done thing. There's a lot more design resources on that, examples of successful tests there. It's also it's quite difficult to get high test peroxide. You cannot simply buy it anywhere. You have to get special contract agreements, and
Q
buy it in bulk.
equals-
There's no one that will sell it to you really.
What is it typically used for?
CV over,
It's
square
used for
root of delta
rockets.
T over
Yeah,
H.
that's pretty much all.
Or
It's,
actually,
high,
what is it?
it's like 95% hydrogen peroxide. You really can't buy it
And you use
anywhere.
that as a propellant.
So it's CV
Yeah, as the
equals square
oxidizer.
root of
Oh, as the
SG over delta T. SG is a constant. So then your CV is roughly proportional to your flow rate multiplied by your delta P, like square root of your delta P. Right? So a higher delta P.
So why don't you use E85 in your rocket? What is that? Just 85% ethanol? Or
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like
over
gasoline.
okay.
Well,
we
not
have
get-
because we have higher.
Yeah. So it's like almost E85. Like we're using
But then it's the same thing,
E99.9.
you solve for Q instead of
Get rid of the gasoline out of it. We're using pure ethanol basically. So.
You get your first gallon, it costs about $4,000.
Oh my gosh!
Wow.
Wow.
That is a lot.
What's up?
To get a
To get high test peroxide.
4,000 for a gallon.
What'd you say?
To get high test peroxide, it's 4,000 per gallon.
What percentage?
It's like 95 or something.
That's insane. That stuff will.
That's your first
That
gallon
stuff will
though.
burn you if you look at it the wrong way.
Exactly.
Yeah, I heard about Zucro Laboratories. They had an entire storage tank of high test peroxide just randomly explode on them one day, like full on explosion, because they had thermal runaway, which is a thing. And so, yeah, we don't want to.
We'd rather not have randomly
Yes.
exploding.
Yeah, we don't want to do that. Liquid oxygen is much more stable.
We
Sitting
like
in
controlled
explosions.
exactly controlled exploding things.
controlled combustion.
Controlled finite.
Explosion is actually not what's going on inside the engine. Yeah, technically, oh.
Technically, it is an explosion.
No, it's
per
not.
gallon.
It's a
though.
rapid chemical reaction.
It's
Wait,
deflagration.
TC,
It's
what is
deflagration.
the price per gallon?
What is hydrogen peroxide?
No, our engine combustion is deflagration, not detonation.
Yeah.
Yeah, detonation is what, typically.
If you want to know about detonation,
No, most engines are deflagration, no? Like
Yes,
rocket engines?
every engine is deflagration, except for like RDEs.
And ramjets aren't those detonation.
No, ramjets aren't even detonation.
Oh.
No,
and the engine.
ramjets are
That sounds
deflagration.
like a lot of work.
That's,
Use detonation
oh,
software.
that's a detonation.
Can't you see
What?
that?
Detonation
You have to have a rep come and
Yeah.
fully train a faculty member. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
What was the question?
To
About
get
HTP.
to get HTP, you need to have a rep come out and fully train a faculty member. In order
That makes
to-
sense.
to be able to
That's a
use
good thing. That is a good
What, they don't just want to like ship it to us and we'll just do it like put it in the mud?
Engine doesn't explode in condition.
We
I don't know. We
the
have an
the sequence, basically the way we have our engine on hard start is we have an extremely powerful igniter. Like I'm talking about like 200 to 300 grams of APCP that we light off. There are about a dozen, maybe 2 dozen small holes drilled through the APCP so that you get really good surface area across the entire puck, and we ignite it with I think 4 E matches.
What's that last
So we
small
we
percentage
have a
of
really
ethanol?
powerful flame
Our
from
E-matches,
the igniter.
yes, that's a very good explanation by Cameron. The E-matches we have,
Andrew, it's
quote unquote, are
poison.
rated for hurricane use also.
Yeah.
So they're supposed to be, basically they will ignite anything,
Yeah.
even in a hurricane.
Yeah, we probably have one of the most powerful igniters in the amateur world.
I think it's one of it's literally the most legal.
Well, no, that's the E match. We also the igniter assembly is also extremely powerful.
Okay.
Produces an incredible amount of fire, and basically any propellant that enters the chamber while the
So it's denatured by it's just
igniter is going instantly burns with the
Sorry, one more
igniter.
time?
So there's not a huge risk of hard start. We've never had a hard start actually ever.
Sean hitting the tank with a wrench, not accidentally.
We're now going to progress
As
into my
always.
favorite part of Hotfire, which is watching John and Jeff use progressively larger wrenches in order to work on that tank.
On the bottom of the box.
Yeah. So right now we're chilling in LN2, and generally when this happens, there's the big fitting at the bottom of the tank for the main propellant line. That will drip a tiny bit when it gets cold, so we'll just come in and tighten that a little bit more, and then continue on.
So where we're at right now, we're chilling.
Yeah, so the tank is it's chilling in at the moment. They may have paused it right now just for to fix the tank. But once that chills in, we'll test actuate the valve once or twice, and then begin to load box.
Were we having this problem when we were doing the cold pool last week?
Yeah, we've this problem is a known recurring
This
problem
is a regular thing.
of just basically can't avoid it really much. Cryogenics.
It's like a procedure at this point.
Yeah, it's basically
just
built
in
in.
that
Yeah.
fitting.
It's
Step 5, tighten the fitting.
Tight fitting because it's going to leak.
Yeah.
That it becomes part of your SOP.
Yeah.
How long do you think that
The problem will occur, so but
It's about probably 9 hours
Fix
for
the
full.
problem.
Until it's yesterday, Okay, we'll be fine. We had it running all day yesterday.
I have a video of my friend there.
What?
Oh my god! Show him that. Don't say it, but show him. Show him.
What? What's going on?
No, Proxy's showing us stuff.
Looks like it was splattered.
You're not doing very good at this. All right, do we have any other questions? All right, drop your questions in the live stream chat.
And he made a rocket instructions up to it.
Dude, I met the guy who designed
From the
and
chat.
built some of that rocket. Yeah.
So you met a guy who's about to be indicted for manslaughter?
I don't know. His name is Wally. We met him at the Base 11 kickoff in Compton. The Base 11 kickoff was in Compton.
Do not watch that. That is not
I'm not gonna watch it. I'm just saying there's a video.
That's messed up.
That's why I said
We can talk about it outside of the tent.
yes. I agree.
All right, rocket fans. Insulation, yes, we have insulation on the tank. We can definitely do better with that, though.
I think we were better insulating our tanks than we are
Just be very
insulating
quiet still.
our
Small
mission
chair.
control. Unfortunately.
Yeah, but still, like, the tank wall is insulated, but the tank tops are not. The tubes are not insulated, so there's definitely a lot more insulation that we can do.
Yeah,
Like
definitely.
everyone just bugged out for a second. I was like, oh my god, and then we just like ran through this massive SOP in our brains and just like, what do we need to look at? Like after the first hotfire, remember how everyone was cheering and immediately like, dear God, what has happened?
Oh,
and then we
yeah.
just like, you just have to pile through this like humongous SOP of like drain the tanks, run the valves,
Yeah.
do it in such a way that you don't actually reignite them.
And then everyone's like, wow, you were so professional. It's like, yeah, we were freaked out.
Wait, so after Hotfire,
Flight controller state, your consoles.
Yeah, do not move.
look
Also,
at
make sure my
yeah.
computer stays awake.
I'll first look at the tank pressure.
It's away.
If anything's there.
Basically, just
we'll follow the SOP.
like
we have
stay
the
calm,
SOP.
follow the SOP. Just
Is it Fido that locks the doors?
Fido?
Or is it
Oh.
yeah, can you lock the
Who
doors?
locks the doors?
I don't remember. What's
The chief. Usually, it's like the chief who says lock the doors. So if something goes wrong, Jack has to say lock the tank.
That's the NASA call out, right?
Yeah.
No, is it lock the doors?
Yeah, if
That's,
an anomaly happens, they literally lock the doors to the control room so that no one can leave.
Even if they have to go to the back. Wait,
A
what?
little bit insensitive. given
Close it.
the problem on
If there's
Apollo 1.
an accident like after Columbia,
Yeah.
they need to preserve
Sorry, you're
all
gonna have
the
to repeat
data.
yourself again.
What?
What's
They
the
lock
problem?
the doors to the control room so nothing gets in or out. So they preserve.
Fair.
Hold on, wait 1 second. Wait 1 second before you open it. Why did that close?
I don't know.
Keep the tank from pressurizing.
Yeah.
Okay, opening it now.
I don't know how that.
It's opening. Check the battery.
All right, we
please.
got some venting of the tank.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, we have some really good camera views this time.
Yeah, we think sometimes when my computer falls asleep that a click will do some weird stuff, so we'll
Or
prevent
if
that from
someone
happening.
jiggles the mouse to wake it up, just try to keep it awake instead.
Sounds good.
What if Minori falls asleep? No, I'm kidding.
Very
That's
likely.
why I'm
Do we have the Oreos? Oh shoot. Incredible.
What if I fall asleep in the middle of the hot fire? What? Minorios? Minorios eating Minorios. I actually had enough last
How's the leak looking?
Yeah.
Not very good.
Oh no. As always.
We're hearing confirmation that the leak is not great. That is,
Don't tell them that.
I mean, you said it.
It's just.
Keeping them updated.
Oh my god.
Did you get those safety vests off?
Yeah,
the master?
probably.
I think so.
Pretty sure.
Definitely 10 out of 10 buy. Good buy again.
We get most things from McMaster.
Oh, she got a rocket engine.
Oh no, we got those off of Amazon.
No,
Oh.
we did
Sorry
not
to
get a
disappoint.
rocket from McMaster.
So basically, we're still tightening a fitting down there, trying to stop the leak from the fitting.
How much of that rocket is McMaster?
How much for the rocket is McMaster? No, actually, like the rocket, like actually not that much of the rocket.
The tank stand, the tank
Like
stand fills
most of our like general day-to-day tools and random equipment and like some ground hardware is McMaster, but not that many things on the rocket are actually McMaster.
Most of it's machined in-house.
Can you repeat that, please?
Yeah, just developed in-house.
What is the current
Oh, yeah,
state of LOX-Ethanol?
It's on.
It's open.
It's open.
Open.
Open over.
All right, drop some more questions in the chat.
We love answering your questions.
So, what is the rocket built from? It is. Wait, is that what the question
What
was?
is this rocket? No, it's built. This rocket is built from McMaster.
Oh,
Ethan
Ethan is lying. The prototypes and all the test hardware is built from McMaster, but not the actual rocket.
Actually, McMaster built a rocket. We just ordered it off McMaster.
Oh.
No, they did not.
Okay, TC, to be honest, the rocket is a full assembly you can purchase from McMaster. Next day shipping. The entire rocket is just one whole McMaster part that we buy. It's $25,000. We just buy it.
Yeah.
We're not gonna.
We're not competition.
We're gonna hide the link to the part number. We're not gonna tell anyone what the part number is.
It's a very specific part number. You can't actually find it in their catalog. It's only we were able to find it.
Yeah, actually, probably almost nothing on the rocket will be from McMaster. Probably some fittings, but probably not a lot.
Yeah, I'd say fittings is really the main
Bolts are
thing
probably
that might
from
be
McMaster.
bolts.
Bolts, all the bolts are probably from McMaster. A lot of them. Copy
hot
opening
fires
LOX
tonight?
purge solenoid for 2 seconds.
Hopefully one.
Hopefully one.
Hopefully two.
There was one day, 2 years ago, that we did 3 hot fires in a single day.
Really?
Yes. The dev engine. It was the 200-pound thrust dev engine, which came before the 1,000-pound thrust liquid engine that we launched. Yes.
What is the estimated time? for
I
hot
also
fire?
wish it was 25K for a rocket.
So, loading locks takes
Oh,
about.
tubes are from McMaster. Almost all of her tubing is
that is
McMaster.
true.
Yeah. Wait. So,
Yes. Thank you,
how long
Ethan.
does it take to load locks? It'll probably take.
Like 10 minutes.
So yeah, once we finish doing the LN2 chill-in, we will be loading in our liquid oxygen, which should take about 10 minutes.
Nothing actually takes that long. It's just
yeah.
extra random stuff that
Yeah,
pops
it's
up.
just random things that we need to make sure are like just good.
Is that your password, Minori? You're like.
I wish it was just 25K for liquid rocket.
It's pretty cool how.
If only it were that easy.
Whoa,
Sarah.
7 attempts and 6 hot fires in a day? That's pretty good. How much thrust? How many thrust pounds did you get? How many newtons? How many thrust weight forces did you get? How many slugs?
Times force of gravity
How many
did you get?
slugs per second did you
I
get?
have never hated something so much as what you just said. Slugs.
How many
That is a unit of measure.
I know.
how many snails did you get?
Doesn't mean I don't
How many?
hate
How many snail pounds?
Yeah, I want to see 6 fires in a day.
No, it's one.
What did you learn from those 6 hot fires? 45 minutes
If
split.
someone says the word topologically, I will throw this chair at them.
Wow. That's a lot of hot fires.
Oh, 200-pound actual. Nice, that's pretty good.
No, we're not doing
only have the one?
We have done Jack. We have done
Yes, I know slug is mass. We're just kind of joking around with units.
Jack.
Thank you, unit police.
Unit, please.
How many people do we have on the stream now?
64. Looking pretty good. Share with your friends. Smash that like button.
Smash that like button.
And
Subscribe.
hit that bell so you can
Hit
get
the bell,
notifications.
Get notifications.
Oh, I feel so
share
dirty
it to
saying that.
everyone.
I feel like I should.
Shameless
Next
plug.
thing you know,
all
we'll
of our
be
social media
pointing
is
to
in
our
the description
Patreon.
of this video. Check us out.
Donate
We do a lot
a few
of
bucks
great
on
stuff.
Patreon. You can get our exclusive news articles.
Unfortunately,
A
we
lot
don't
of
have
beautiful
Patreon.
pictures of us
Yes.
on.
Hey there, we see you have an ad blocker enabled. Please turn it off so you can see our ads. Unit police. Now that's a good meme.
We honestly didn't know.
Except that we could do it fast. Fair enough.
Whoa, the last one was a 30-second hot fire run of 200 pounds thrust.
Whoa.
That's pretty
good.
cool.
That's pretty cool. It's definitely impressive.
We will burn that much propellant in this 2-second hot fire.
Copy closing OX
I think we're gonna burn about that same amount of propellant as that 30-second test, 200 pounds thrust. We're gonna burn that amount of propellant in our tonight's test.
You have Patreon.
No, we don't. We don't have Patreon. We wish.
We wish.
It's actually kind of complicated.
Can we?
No, we can't. It's slightly complicated how donations can be made. They have to be done through like the official portal or through like an official crowdfunder.
Would Patreon not be an official crowdfunder?
No, like you have to do it through U of M's crowdfunding like setup. Leave a comment below in the doodly-doo. Hello, Rocket fans. Leave a comment
Someone
below.
say hello, rocket fans.
Yeah, that's Copenhagen. That's a Copenhagen
CSD
thing.
if you want to check it out. It's 6, 2, and 20 Nemesis.
Oh, I think I may have seen that video. Yeah.
We do not have a Patreon.
Yeah. Oh, and someone asked about Kickstarter. We have a very similar thing to Kickstarter. We did one last year. We raised several $1,000s, and we're looking to do another one this year. What exactly are you chilling right now? We are chilling the fill system, basically the liquid oxygen system. We're chilling in with LN2, so that includes the plumbing, valves, and mostly the tank. It's a very thick tank, so yeah, you need a lot. You need a lot of LN2 to chill that. Yeah, UM does want their cut. They like to get their cut.
Yeah. So we are University of Michigan affiliated organization.
Oh, we should do a workspace tour.
74.
And actually, earlier today we did some production of some sheet metal components. We had a water jet cut strip with about 48 holes that we rolled into a ring, and that will be eventually welded down the seam, so you get a continuous ring, and that will be welded on top of our tanks. So that's basically the structural attachment on the top of our tanks. So we made a prototype of one of those pieces today, and it turned out pretty well.
And
Copy that. Closing locks.
What's a motor? We don't have any motors
Yeah,
here. We have an engine. We have a rocket engine.
Oh, like do we chili injector? No. We really only chill the
Hold on.
20?
Okay,
liquid
copy that.
oxygen
Target
tank.
pressure 20 psi in LOX tank. You're on fuel tank. Minori,
What?
you're on fuel tank.
Yeah.
LOX tank.
So yeah, the flange. There
Pressurize
is
it
a flange on the engine that we bolt to
20
a
PSI.
thrust transfer structure, which bolts into the fins. Actually, well, we have a whole structure assembly below the tank that is the fins and the fin can technically, so it bolts into that.
This is the type of process that's susceptible to error.
But yes.
Verbal communications are
I have a special pet peeve when people call our liquid engine a motor.
Yes.
Because typically motors are kind of amateur solid
17 right
engines,
now,
they're
down to
solid
21.
motors, a solid rocket.
Ours is an engine.
You can tell when someone doesn't know anything about liquid rocketry or what we're doing when they say, "Hey, how's your motor going?"
And you consider that your motor is too small.
It is not a motor.
Copy that. Target pressure 50 psi.
enjoy
LOX
that.
tank.
Well, I don't know what he's talking about since we don't have a motor.
What do you mean by like? Oh wait, sorry. I thought that said slots.
You could hard start it if you had a poor igniter. If we had a really weak igniter, say if we had a single E-match in the chamber, and we ignited the E-match like 1 second after opening valves, then it would hard start. Then you'd actually have pooled propellant, and if you ignite the pooled propellant, you'd get a nice hard start. But
we have a really, really strong igniter, so.
Well, it's going really slow.
We don't have enough upstream. You can close it.
I don't know.
Yeah. Okay, we're at 46
No.
right now. We don't have enough upstream
TC,
right now to get to
don't
50.
say that. No. You're working against us, TC. I thought you were our friend.
You betrayed us.
No, yeah, Ethan is right. Small engines explode all the time.
Copy, we'll monitor.
Yeah, you can definitely put in enough propellant.
Was that 46, I think, right?
Yeah, it was. Helium?
No, LOX.
LOX, yeah. It's right now. 43.
That's okay, Andrew.
42.
What?
Andrew said so. It is funny though because some of the main people organizing the competition ask us how our motor is going, and it's like, guys,
from 46.
it's not for the 100th time. It's not a motor. It's an engine. It's like they're running the competition.
They're the organizers. So
it's like they're the organizers. It's like, guys, we're not building motors. We're building engines.
So the LOX fell.
Oh, okay.
We actually don't have any insulation on the LOX lines right now. We should. We're getting a good amount of boil off from not having insulation. So
our LOX tank is insulated though, right?
yes, the LOX tank is insulated, but just just the walls though. The top and bottom is not insulated.
I think they took off the wall insulation
Oh,
as
yeah.
well, which you can see because you can see on the stream.
We think that there was liquid in the tank, and that it's holding well.
Great. Awesome.
Copy that.
So our next steps are going to be reinstalling the
Air
insulation
polymer
in
composite
the tank.
from Home Depot.
Yeah, I got it. Hold on.
Oh yeah, we would need to drain the tank first.
We're listening to some of the radio chat. Yes, the insulation does help.
Yes, we do.
You got 61
The insulation
in
is
the tank.
very
It's
important.
increasing.
Hotfire hardcore.
Yes, because we have moving parts. The two propellant valves are moving components. On a motor, you don't have any moving parts. And
Okay, one.
And
hold on,
generally-
also, just in the future, can we reduce the amount of time we're on the line? Just because if I need to say something quickly, we can't. You can't hear unless it's a quick interaction.
says Jack over the longest radio.
I know.
That's a good point. Let's
Well, we're the
talk
ones
Phil
who know
Phone
what's
on
going
that.
on.
Okay, so we're going for non-pneumatic vent on
So,
LOX
yeah.
tank, correct?
A solid rocket has about
Okay,
0
target
moving
pressure
parts.
40, actually
Really just has the
now.
igniter. Whereas the liquid rocket with the liquid engine has maybe 30 or so moving parts, like all the different valves, the solenoid valves, and
that's a continuous.
the main propellant valves, which have
Confirmation that Jefferson
large
solenoid is
moving
continuous?
components on them. So, yes, it's definitely an engine.
Yeah, I
And also, traditionally, having liquid propellants puts you into the category of engine. That's just usually how it goes.
We tell the LOX tank is full by when it starts to leak out the.
We can,
vent, right?
we tell the LOX tank is full because we have a vent solenoid at the top, and we, or a vent valve actually now, and when we vent, we can see the vapor coming out of the exit tube. So yeah.
So that's how we can tell if the LOX tank is full. So we just kind of keep it open, and then when we start to see,
Copy that.
basically stuff venting out, we know.
Have you guys started to think about how the next engine is going to bolt on that stand?
Yes.
We're probably making a new stand.
No.
A new mounting hardware.
New mounting hardware, but not a new stand.
I designed
Not a
that
new
stand.
test stand?
I designed that stand with a very specific bolt pattern that will work even if we go to like California.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Why do we
That
not
thrust
just
stand there should
vent
never,
with a-
like in like 10 years.
Because
we
it's
should
a little
not
bit
have to
high right
replace it.
now. It's very
The
loud
thrust
and
stand.
stuff.
Cool.
Okay.
Do you stagger mains?
Main
Never seen-
parachutes? Well, we have 2 parachutes. We have the
It says
Drogue.
mains. It doesn't say main.
Yeah, I don't really
We
know.
are still at 45.
Main propellant valves? Oh, he probably means main propellant valves.
You did at
Yes.
some point, right?
Yes,
You're
I
at
think we
45
stagger them
PSI
by
in the tank.
about a few tenths of a second.
43.
I don't know which ones we stagger, but yeah, a few tenths of a second.
What was the question about staggering?
Staggered mains. I don't know.
Yeah, we stagger our mains. Right now, we're still working out our valve timing.
GO1 for 2 seconds. Keep up with the pneumatic pressure.
Copy that. Opening HESNGO1 for 2 seconds.
Oh yeah, main valves. Yes, we stagger them.
Open it.
Rocks.
Okay. Just close it.
Might be Belgium.
Okay, reopening LOX vent.
Belgium doesn't have names.
We are at 45 in the tank.
Stagger main valves.
Yeah, so our main valves, since it's a regen circuit, our fuel does take longer to flow.
That's Belgium. Oh, Liechtenstein.
Copy that. Fill vent pneumatic on our count. Watch the ears.
Can I close this?
Do you want us to close LOX vent first?
Niger? Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you can. No, leave it open, that's fine.
Keep that open, okay.
All right, copy that. Opening.
The Congo.
Fill vent in 3,
Democratic
2,
Republic of
1.
I don't know if that's.
That's expected.
If you're gonna talk, don't be not to be.
Closing LOX solenoid vent. Not that one. Keep that one open. Opening.
Trying to keep it clear for just operations.
So the temperature outside right now, I believe, is around 35 to 40 degrees, which is pretty nice considering we've had attempted hot fires at much colder temperatures.
Tanks at 0.
And we started around. What time did people start today? 7 a.m.
We didn't.
8.
Yeah. 8
Yeah,
a.m.
we started at about 8 a.m. today.
Sorry, to finish my last point, we run a regen circuit, so fuel takes longer to flow. There's a longer flow path. That being said, the valve timings are also different. So from some of our cold flow data, we have figured out, at least right now, what we think is the best way to stagger our valves so both propellants enter the chamber at exactly the same point in time. That being said, we are opting to lead with fuel and also end with fuel. So that means that at the beginning and the end of the burn, you lead slightly fuel rich, just to help keep some of the temperatures down in the engine and prevent the metal inside oxidizing.
And our igniter is made from APCP, right?
APCP.
APCP.
Yeah, our igniter's made from ammonium perchlorate composite propellant, APCP.
Do I
Copy
keep
that.
the fill vent open?
And that
Do you want us to keep fill vent open in that time?
APCP is what a lot of solid motors
Copy.
are
Opening
made out
HES
of.
for 2 seconds in 3, 2,
But we have
1.
a much smaller quantity that we ignite using an E-match. We ignite the E-match, that ignites the APCP. It burns very furiously and fills the chamber with a hot flame.
Close.
And then the main propellant valves open.
Copy. Closing LOX fill pneumatic vent.
The cold flow timings, I guess a lot of this is done through trial and error. Timing the valves.
Building
We've also done some.
Oh, the cold flow timings. So cold flow timings are determined because, from a few different ways. What's up?
The LOX tank is building, so.
Okay. You still may have a little liquid in there. It's building slowly. Going off that, yeah. Okay. Copy. So basically, what happens is our engine controller monitors the amperage draw and the voltage draw through all of our solenoids, and we also monitor the time the command is sent to open the valves. We also have pressure transducers before the valve and after the valve, as long as in different parts of the engine circuit. So when we run a cold flow, we could see exactly what time down to down to 10 milliseconds. We could tell when our valve was opened, commanded open, and then at what time pressures are seen in various points of the engine, and then we could use that data to link up the valve timing with the engine controller and the actual time we needed to start the engine with the igniter.
Also, Ben is asking if we can ship him the engine. You think we can do that? Ship him the engine and
Do a
igniter?
bigger feed system and try it hard.
Now, what do you mean by bigger feed system? Like higher pressure feed system? Because that's really just, like, bigger tanks wouldn't really change anything. It's about the pressure of the propellant that you're feeding in.
Unless you work at a fancy company,
Yeah,
in which
but-
case maybe you can hook us up with some pumps.
The thing that determines the flow rate into your engine is mostly the injector geometry that sets the flow rate, and the upstream pressure, the upstream injector pressure, and the downstream chamber pressure. That's pretty much what sets your flow rate.
My back is in pain. My back is in pain.
Your
So I'm
Mac?
like- I'm
Your
like-
Mac is in pain?
No, I'm okay. I don't want a chair. No,
You should get a chair.
I don't want a chair.
Jack doesn't need a chair. The only solids I've played with are.
Have you guys ever seen a liquid
Oh, my friend
engine
was
hot
in
fire?
morning.
Large sugar.
We're just waiting for the
More M dot.
liquid to drain out.
So So you say more M dot, but our engine, the limiting
Okay,
factor
copy
on
that. Will we do it
propellant flow
valve
rate
actuation?
is the injector
LOX
and
valve
the
actuation?
propellant pressure. If you want to have more flow into the engine, you have to either make a new injector or you need to have higher pressure propellant. We actually don't have many cryo pressure transducers. What we do is we have a standard pressure transducer that has a very long standoff tube that insulates it from the low temperatures, but it still gets the same pressure. So we don't really have any cryo
Copy that.
transducers.
LOX purge for 3 seconds.
Ah, 2 liquids launch. Nice.
Can you
It's a
check
rare
the
occurrence.
Okay, we're good. Can you do LOX valve open?
Okay. Copy that. We are going for LOX valve open in 3, 2, 1. Okay.
Nice.
You're watching the stream.
LOX valve close.
Copy that. LOX valve close.
So you just saw that on stream. We opened up
Copy
our
purging for 3
LOX
seconds.
valve
LOX purge for
to,
3 seconds.
Make sure that it is working under cold temperatures.
Yeah, so if you want to see that again, rewind about 15 seconds and you can see the LOX flow through the engine.
Fuel
Not,
too?
not LOX, LN2.
Oh, LN2. You can see the
What
LN2
was that?
flow through the engine.
Should we try fuel?
But through the LOX line.
No, fuel's
Yes,
already
through the
full,
LOX
so we
line.
can't do fuel now.
Oh, yeah, it's full. I
We're
forgot.
gonna just reject the tank quick. Can you fill CNG to 100 psi target and box tank 20 psi target?
Okay, we're good. Yeah, my phone's
We're good?
for a second. Yeah.
Cool.
Still need to refresh though.
Yeah, 20.
Alright, 20 PS in the tank. 20 psi in the tank. We will monitor.
Helium is 77.
Okay.
Box tank is 17.
It is dropping, but it's hard to monitor leaks just because we're flowing in nitrogen at room temperature, and it's going to get pretty cold once it gets into the tank.
Yeah, it's true. Oh, yeah, that.
PV over T. Equal to what? Yes, it's also equal to PV. P2V2 over T2. No, I was gonna say
Changing over to LOX. I'm going to start cameras.
Alright.
Copy that.
So,
We're gonna start setting up mission control for LOX procedures.
so we have just completed our LN2 chill-in, which means we can proceed to loading liquid oxygen into our tanks.
Exciting.
Very exciting.
All right, so now we're taking big steps towards hot firing. This is
So you will begin to see some movement around in our mission control as we
Hey, guys.
prepare our mission control for the hot fire, for
if
pressure,
you're not
for
doing
loading
live
ops,
stream ops
pressurizing,
or
and
hot fire
then
ops,
hot fire.
we might ask you to step out since it's going to get pretty busy in here. Yeah.
We shall step out.
Yeah, you should probably if you're not doing operations, I might ask you to step out just because it gets really busy. Yeah, since we're gonna.
Cameron, how does the standoff insulate the pressure transducer from the temperature?
Cameron, why do we have a coupling ring outside?
Oh, because we wanted to compare it on the tank and it fit.
Oh, fantastic.
Yes, we welded it on even.
Huh?
So, as you were answering about the pressure transducer,
Oh, so the pressure transducer insulates from temperature just because you usually have about 1 foot, 1.5 feet of an open tube. Basically, you have a small enough tube. The heat transfer through the tube is pretty low, so at the top of the tube it'll be warm, at the bottom it'll be cryogenic. But since the outside of the tube is exposed to the air temperature, like ambient air, that heats it up. So just kind of the way it works is it's a really good insulator against the cold gas. So the top of the tube ends up not being cold at all. Oh, it would be cool to see the data acquisition module.
Yeah, that's something we've looked into. It's a little tricky to get an HDMI port to plug into one of these, but we would definitely like to do that in the future. We're currently working on a new very fancy GUI. Hopefully it will be done by the end of the summer, which will make it really easy to monitor our system from afar. Currently, our current setup is a lot of numbers, not a lot of pictures, so it's a little difficult. But we're also working on real-time plotting, along with an updated T-minus count and board connections and all that stuff. So once we get that good, we'll definitely try to get that on the stream for you guys.
Get it good.
We're also currently working on getting. I don't know what you just said. Can you repeat?
The purge.
Shut the purge. One more time.
The purge.
What?
Please hold down the walkie before you start talking.
Please close the purge.
Shut the purge. It's closed. Yeah, so once we get that up, we'll do that. We're also working on currently, along with the great sponsorship from CCTVCameraWorld, we also have 4 more little ports on this guy to plug more cameras into. So we have a lot of GoPros and other cameras recording in different locations throughout the bunker and outside. Those you'll get to see when we post a video, obviously. But for right now, you guys can't see it, nor can we actually. So we're working on a system to get those hooked into the current setup, and we'll have 8 camera views along with the mission control view, and also hopefully a webcam of the bunker and stuff like that going forward.
But it is quite a bit of work to do
Yes.
the camera setup.
The live stream setup, some other teams do live streams, which is super cool. We try very hard to make them like quote-unquote production quality, where we have the little guide and people talking and you get to see everything. And that takes a lot of time for us to set up, like many hours.
Yeah.
People have to use all their cellular data. We have multiple computers running, and it makes it...
especially since our mission control is essentially a tarp.
A tarp behind it, yeah, cinder block wall.
We can't really leave our mission control or our streaming set up like.
Yeah, we have to tear it down and reset it up every day.
Every single time we want to do a.
Every cable's disconnected. Every camera.
All of our cords to the bunker right now. So we have 8 camera cords that run to the bunker, along with multiple power strips, Ethernet cords for our engine controller, and stuff like that. So we have probably around 10 or 12 120-foot cables that have to run from a shipping container in the middle of a rather marshy field to mission control.
Yeah.
And then we set up this kind of tarp situation going on here.
We finally nailed down the perfect way to.
Yes, we figured it out. It's taken us a while.
Yeah.
But it allows us to do testing. We're very grateful, obviously, for the school to give us the opportunity to get our own dedicated test site.
Yeah.
That's something that most schools do not have the opportunity to use, so we're very happy about that. We are currently also... They can't...
100 psi doers, roughly.
You're going to have to repeat yourself. You guys are coming in a little static, so talk slow, please.
Well, the main... The small liquid oxygen doer we fill the LOX tank with is about 22 psi, but the larger chill doers, with LN2 are about 100 psi. Oh yes, Ethan's right. It's actually mostly limited by the size of your vent valve, which is why we have a massive vent valve. In fact, the vent valve is as big as the main propellant valve. The main liquid oxygen valve. Yeah, they're the same size.
Target for pre-fill.
Oh, okay.
Don't
Yeah.
You're at 670, 700, 750, 800, 12. 900.
What are we pressurizing?
1,000.
What do you mean? The helium tank.
Oh, helium tank.
Yeah,
so right now we're pressurizing
basically the pressure fill system.
Oh.
10, 50.
Yeah, we're pressurizing a COPD tank.
1,100.
So we have helium in metal. So we have helium, high pressure helium in K bottles from our gas supplier, which we're currently filling that helium into our helium run tank essentially, which is a carbon. It's a steel CNG tank, which the steel CNG tank flows
did you copy that
helium into the propellant tanks during the test.
1320.
Is that still open?
That's fine. No, we weren't able to understand what you said.
It's still going.
Okay,
up.
my apologies. No, it's
What's the battery voltage right now?
Year 2.
Yeah.
We're at 11.4, but if the other one...
Yes,
can we get a
helium
voltage reading on
is
the other
leaky, but it is so much lighter that it is worth it to deal with the hassle of leaky fittings and whatnot. it's a massive weight savings. 30 pounds is like really large weight savings for this rocket.
Jumping into something someone mentioned previously, someone mentioned LabVIEW. We actually don't use LabVIEW almost anywhere. We have a few units that we can kind of mess around with for some basic ground testing, but the GUI we use is a custom-built Python library written in PyQt, or QtPy, depending on how you want to say it. And
PewDiePie.
one of the two. So we write everything from scratch there. Right now, the new GUI we're working on is basically a system where you can drag and drop all your PNIDs.
The other one is.
The other one's at 11.4.
Yeah.
Both are at 11.4.
Yeah, the one that we have here is 11.4.
There's 3 of them. They should check the other.
Is there a third there that has anything higher than that? Because we need to get one of those charging if not.
It's in a bin. I don't know if it's higher. The charger's there too, though.
We should charge it.
Didn't we have this problem last time?
I thought we were charging
Yes.
They said they were.
No, we didn't have this problem last time.
The charger's here, though. I saw it earlier.
Yeah, we have the charger.
Hold up.
Not a
Charger here? We don't have a charger here. The charger's down there.
The charger's in a bin.
They're both at 11.4?
Yeah. There's
Nothing
another
else?
one. There's a third one there.
A third big one?
Yeah, big lipo. It's in the. I'm almost positive. It's in one of the plastic.
Is it
All
up
right,
here?
then go get the charger.
You
We'll
should
charge
go
it up.
look
We can
for
switch
it.
it out after that. You guys gotta talk way clearer. I can't hear anything. You gotta repeat that again. You're coming in static.
Wow.
Don't worry about it. We're going to say tell Jeff that the charger is here.
Oh yeah.
LabVIEw is the sworn
I just
enemy
told
of
Jeff.
many.
I was gonna
Wait,
patch it for that.
Andrew.
Yes?
Tell Ethan I say hi. And thanks for liking my meme.
Ethan? Aiden says hello. And thanks for liking it.
My meme that I put in Master Memes.
And Ethan, Aiden also thanks you for liking her meme.
I only deliver the best
Your
memes.
guy was a genius for doing all of it.
Oh, you're charging it down there? Yeah, LiPo balance 5 amps, 3 cells.
Should we balance the...
LabVIEw is both great.
Yes, the mode is LiPo balance. Hold down the enter button. Jeff is gonna know how to do it.
I think that charging it without balancing will be faster.
At least it wasn't MATLAB.
The charging normally supplies 2 amps,
Very
balance
true.
supplies 5 amps if I'm correct. You can cycle through and check though.
I'm pretty sure we can make charge supply by amps.
Just let Jeff do it, because Marion already.
I think we should just do it the same way.
Yeah.
I prefer to do it the same way we normally do it.
Do not.
During LOX-fill, we'll have enough time to get up to probably around 11.6, 11.8, and we should be good to go from there.
Sounds good.
There's a guy who asked earlier on what we do for LOX cleaning. So
What?
if you want, there's a guy who asked
Still
earlier
holding
how we
for
guys,
yeah.
how we LOX clean
Oh,
our
right.
components.
Forgot to
So
Forgot to answer that.
You can type in comments then too.
that's awesome.
You can answer.
I
you
mean,
can-
I've been typing it.
We are trying to keep the space a little bit clear though.
Yeah.
Of people not doing it.
Also, kind of on a side note, LOX tank is currently reading 14 psi. I'd like to double check if there's actual pressure in the tank right now, or if that 14 psi is due to a temperature offset on the pressure transducer.
Also check. Check
Yeah.
out our.
Their temperature, they vary with temperature.
That's holding really steady.
But Ethan, do you webinar your
Very happy with
experience?
the 1300 one. That's still holding. It's
Do
good.
you use Simply Green?
Yes.
We do?
Yes, we
Yes, we do.
agree.
Yeah, it wasn't last time.
We used to use a fluid called Blue Gold, which is a nice industrial cleaner.
Awesome, yeah, we saw a little drop.
We switched to Simple Green since it's cheaper and does the same thing.
We are just battery shenanigans and flipping. Like, we hooked up LOX basically. We're just like, once we start filling LOX, we really can't do a lot of work behind it, so we start getting the system in the state where we're ready to do it all remotely. Yeah, so for a quick update, right now you can see them kind of doing some battery stuff. We're basically making sure that all of our batteries and stuff running the engine controller along with our tanks are at the right pressures and voltages to make sure that we can run the system remotely once LOX is in the system. So we won't be behind there while LOX is in there, behind the bunker while LOX is in the system for safety reasons.
Yes, we use aircraft grade MATLAB.
And everyone else will be at mission control behind a cinder block wall, and all operations will become remote at that time. Occasionally we do approach when there's no pressure in either of the tanks, not inside ever, but around to monitor various aspects of fill.
But yeah, if you're wondering, I think aircraft grade was reference to our cleaner. No, we use simple, just standard Simple Green. Yeah. we have a pretty thorough cleaning SOP that we follow to a T. Involves a kind of industrial solvent like Simple Green, sometimes acetone, but we usually use some isopropyl to wash that off.
And then
ultrasonic, heated ultrasonic bath, drying with clean nitrogen, etc., etc.
Yeah, and we clean our components before we assemble them.
It looks like they're just like
not
staring
after,
at
just
the
because
battery or something.
it would be too difficult to clean everything and
Yeah, and also-
ensure that it would be the level of cleanliness that we want.
Yeah, a big thing is being able to verify that you cleaned it. If you have an assembly, you can't really verify unless you have a tiny boroscope camera. You can't really verify it's clean.
Everything all good?
Yeah, I mean, the next step is going back, so we're waiting for the battery to get to a charge level we like.
So
Okay, copy that.
the standard stuff, it may leave a residue, but we clean that residue off with isopropyl alcohol.
Alright, you can let it sit for a little bit. If we get it like 12.1, 12.2, that'd be fantastic.
We
It
have
takes a really long time for it to charge.
We
From
have
like
not had
12
any
to
issues with cold
12.6,
welding, but
and the rate
usually
that
when we
goes down
assemble
is
components
slowest
together, we
on
use
size charge.
lubricants, so usually that
No,
helps
you're
avoid any cold welding. But no, we've never had issues with cold welding. But they do have cold welding issues on the space station. Metal components will weld themselves together.
Really?
Yeah, like if two.
It's like the opposite of normal welding, which just gets so cold that it melts together.
No, it's mainly it's a complete vacuum. And so you if you get two nice and flat surfaces and you put them together, they can adhere to each other pretty nicely.
In a complete vacuum?
Yes. Yeah. I wouldn't say structurally welded, but they'll stick together.
Oh, Krytox. Yes, we love Krytox.
Yes, Krytox 240 AC, I think.
Once, Cameron, once
What'd
we
you
actually start moving chairs, we should probably put this behind us so it doesn't get pulled off.
Yeah. Do we have to move our chairs?
No, it's not. Just like when we.
Oh, okay.
Well, I don't know. Actually, maybe
We probably shouldn't. We should probably keep it just like operations people in here. Because the reason why we had to stand before is because we had 1 million people standing here.
We should just be like stream and
People are like handing it out.
Or I mean, we can leave as well. Right? Yeah. Worst case scenario. Gosh, your mother says we're like.
Oh, thanks, Bob. Sick.
The ultrasonic 2 stainless fittings and torque them down. You've done good.
Yeah, that's true. That's just true. You don't want to do that.
Yes.
Yeah, and also if you're for some reason you have nickel components, nickel alloys, those will really stick to each other.
They will not be happy.
Yes.
We actually did destroy an earlier box valve by Dawn President. This is because of clean, not lubricated Krytox. Yep. That is very right.
Alright, that's good. Not right now, but probably once they come up here, we're going to get all the chairs out.
Alright. Did you yell at people yet about not having side conversations while we're trying to talk over the walkie?
Yes.
Also, Jack, should we have a thing where we just have live stream and ops people in here?
What's up?
Should we have just?
No, I won't have everyone.
You want to have everyone here?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's big enough.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
I mean, we made it work. Why do you say that?
Oh, it's just that
It's only 9 o'clock.
yeah, people talking. People crush the front basically. So maybe we should have a debrief with everyone and have people not crush the front.
Okay, connecting the new battery. No, I agree, but I also feel bad because people are coming out to watch it. I don't want to be like,
Okay, yeah.
go watch it else.
See, I was just.
Though one could argue you have a better view across the street, but now that we have live, in the past we have.
Planet.
Oh, did they?
They don't matter.
I don't know. Maybe.
Wait, what is it?
Pluto planet.
Yeah, definitely.
Pluto's a planet.
Why not?
Why not? Exactly.
It's just a laser.
Sorry, the
It's
new
a
battery is
really,
currently
really
installed right
small
now.
planet.
Yeah, we've
Okay, we're
built
getting 11.7 off that, but that should be okay.
the fuel valve in our setup right now that we've been using for all the hot fires is actually an
Maybe
a
let's get
fully
the charge
in-house
up
built
emission
valve,
control
and that works very well.
charge the other
The
one.
liquid oxygen valve, on the other
And
hand,
then if it drops too low,
is
we can
very
swap it out
difficult.
on the fly.
We've gone through several prototypes. They've all somewhat worked, somewhat had a lot of issues, but the fuel valve works very nicely. However, we're currently working on a new fuel valve.
And locks off.
Yes, and a new
As
LOX
me?
valve. So
New fuel valve?
yeah, new fuel valve. So in-house valves are definitely possible. They're difficult. but they're kind of necessary since off-the-shelf solutions don't really exist, and unless you want a massive, heavy pneumatic actuator, then you kind of need to make your own.
Yeah, so TC...
Also, whenever it breaks, you don't know what went wrong because you didn't make it.
Yeah. And what type of valves are they? They're poppet style pneumatic they're poppet style valves with a kind of a piston aspect, so that you can pressurize one side of the valve and it pushes the poppet the other direction to open flow.
Yeah, and TC, to answer your question, we actually usually start preparing for our hot fires Thursday, and because we just have so much stuff to do, because as we were saying before, we literally have to completely set, like every single time we want to attempt a hot fire, or at the end of each hot fire attempt, we need to take down everything that we have set out, completely bring a lot of stuff back to our workspace, and just kind of,
okay,
there's a lot of
so
work
we need to,
so
and when you're done, we need to clear chairs out.
So we are going to be clearing our chairs out so that we can
put it in, but probably a few more minutes.
It'll be nice to stand up there.
Alright, things are about to get real.
Yeah, let's maybe move this back over here.
I don't want it over here, because people are going to be like, oh, be quiet, hush, hush, hush.
Fair enough.
And I want to have it over here to talk to.
Fair enough. I'm going to put that over there.
I want to talk to you, Rocket fans.
Hello,
Rocket fans. Welcome to the workshop.
Yes.
I hope you didn't wear nice pants today, everyone.
I always wear my...
I wore my nice...
Wait, at what point do we have to start crouching?
Not right now.
Okay.
I will be crouching. The computer died, guys.
Okay.
You guys gotta...
Let's try to keep it crouched time.
My jacket is nice. I don't...
So we can all stand in stream instead of crouching.
We can also get a tarp down here or something.
That would be really
Alright, we're heading back to mission control.
Alright, so they
You're
are
gonna be
tarp
there.
control
I'm gonna
so
be
that we can...
Tarps to lay down so we don't get all muddy.
And then begin pressurizing.
The only tarps are down at the bunker.
Oh, shoot. Okay. Never mind. Does anyone have a blanket they want to get dirty?
Can we restart the box for right now?
Someone go to Kroger and buy blankets.
Put you down.
Oh, yes, yes.
Just go ahead.
Is LOX filled?
No, we're about to.
Okay, so the status now is liquid nitrogen has fully chilled the tank, and now the tank's empty, and we are waiting to fill liquid oxygen into the tank.
Everyone has ear protection?
No. Where's the ear protection?
Who has the bag up here? Oh,
I think the bag is somewhere over
we have a LiPo charger that I'd like to
go ahead.
move up to the front.
You want me to get that stand up here?
Jack, yeah, if you want to...
Yeah, we have
I get a white
bag.
pad?
Yeah, I got it.
Sorry, I've got several things in my hand. You got it?
Do we have any ear plug? Yeah.
Can we move the Oreos first?
There's Oreos?
Don't worry about it.
Ear protection, anyone?
You're not worried about the Oreos.
Video
The Oreos are
pass that back.
We're getting close to the time period where if you're having a side conversation, I will yell at you. So.
We're not gonna be able to play that.
Like,
Whose charger is this?
This is mine. I'm hosting the stream.
Wait, but it's your phone.
Yeah, it's your phone. You
It's
don't
the
need
live stream. The Sony.
You get a pass for that.
What's this monitor plug?
Yeah, unplug it. Unplug it. I'm at like 4 right now. It's just I was at like 10%.
no locks actually.
Yo, Andrew, if your phone freezes and turns off, that'd be sad.
Hey, well, I'm just gonna keep it in my pocket.
The hot fire is 2 seconds because primarily we're testing the ground systems, the propellant tanks, the feeds, pressurization systems, propellant valves, engine controller. The engine itself is not really the main test here. We're really looking to see how much thrust we get, and the thrust measurement can be done very quickly. We only need a short burn for that.
Are you answering why it's so short?
Yeah, mainly it's a demonstration of the entire system, not just the engine combustion chamber. Once we have a successful test here, we will likely go to higher durations. And if I had to estimate, we're between
15, 20.
anywhere between 10 and 30 minutes from hot fire. Who's on?
911.
Who's on 911?
Yeah, we're on right now. We're fine for right now.
Okay.
I'm gonna be live streaming.
Alright.
Oh, hi, Kara.
Okay. Jeff?
Alright, let's do
John?
LOX-Ethanol.
We're beginning LOX-Ethanol.
Let's open up the vents. Yes, OXS and GO2. Do you need any pneumatic pressure first?
We're not moving. Because then people will yell at me if I try to talk.
4 seconds.
HES and J1 for 4 seconds. The helium tank is at 160.
Yeah. And then pneumatic vent first. No, OXS and GO2.
TC, very shortly after we finish LOX-Fill, we fire the engine. Basically, the procedure from here until fire, is we're going to be filling the LOX tank, and then shortly after that, we pressurize the fuel and LOX tank with our helium run tank, and then after that, we go through a quick checks. We go through a round of checks with everyone, confirming that we're ready to hot fire. We go through the last steps of the SOP, and then we hot fire. So that's the procedure from now until hot fire.
Double checking you guys have a walkie. They have a walkie?
They have a walkie.
They got it. How's it flowing?
We haven't had full-on blockages in our plumbing, but we've had issues before where valves won't actuate because there's some ice formed and stuck between the seals, or had issues where valves are leaking because we have ice stuck inside of them. So.
This is what it is. A little slower, please.
Things are nominal here. We're starting to see vapor coming out of the vent tube.
Sure. Paige usually tells me to come back here.
I'm not sure.
What's up?
Yes, the engine is very loud when it fires. Some of the new members here watching their first hot fire will be pretty surprised at how loud it is. The preparations are going quite well. Right now we're filling the liquid oxygen tank with LOX.
So we're currently just waiting for confirmation that the LOX tank is full.
If you're wondering, we're a safe distance from the hot fire bunker, behind a reinforced concrete wall.
Outdoor bathroom. Like, ammonia.
I mean,
Very possible to do the bottom.
No, that's fine.
Andrew, do you want to like update people with
We have a certain OF ratio on the engine, and we basically keep that OF ratio from ignition to full burn. We don't really have a varying OF ratio. This nozzle is not actively cooled, nor the one that's going to be flying. Our flight nozzle is going to be more of a titanium radiative cooled nozzle.
Are you updating them?
Yeah.
What's happening?
The combustion the chamber is regeneratively cooled. On the next engine, the chamber and the throat will be regen cooled, but the nozzle will never be cooled.
Any updates?
What's up? What'd you say?
Any updates?
Not so sorry. Does it look like it's slowing down at all? A little bit, not too much. Sometimes it does that when liquid comes out.
We can get around 3,500 pounds of force, hopefully. That's max.
Oh.
LOX-Ethanol is only
Well, we're running this engine off ethanol because it's kind of easier to get your hands on. RP1 is very difficult to source. But our next engine is RP1 because we figured out how to source it, and you can get increased performance with it. The nozzle is attached with some flange, some sort of seals. It's kind of a complicated joint.
Can you ask Jack if he knows what time it is? It's 9:25.
It's 9:23. What?
It's 9:24. Can you tell Jack what time it is?
Alright, we have liquid returning to the bunker to the cruise control.
Copy that. Alright, liquid tank is full. Our LOX tank is currently full. We'll be pressurizing and burning soon. Alright, earplugs in, people down.
What's our
Make room
ETA?
for people coming in.
What's our ETA?
5 minutes.
5 minutes ago.
Yeah, just flying, no problems. Alright.
Alright, we could keep filling LOX as we press fuel.
Okay.
Well, we keep the vents.
Can we check battery pressure? Battery voltage right now? Okay.
You want to switch? 12.2, I can switch it off.
You want to send a message that says, yeah?
I did.
Oh, you did?
Yeah? Yeah, stop.
Go ahead.
So we're just changing out our batteries just to make sure we have...
Jeff! We need to close the valves first.
What?
We need to close the valves.
Okay, that's fine.
Alright.
Close, fill.
Yeah, close, fill.
So we are changing out our batteries just to make sure that our engine controller is
What's up?
running on a full battery before we actually hot fire, just to make sure it doesn't run out.
If the pressure gets above 50 psi, don't
Okay.
To be clear, in this hot fire, we're using ethanol. 99% ethanol. Our future engine will use RP1. The LOX tank is not yet full. We're going to be pressurizing the fuel tank and topping off the LOX tank in conjunction. But it's partially filled.
Alright, everyone's got earplugs in? Alright, talk loud.
Alright.
Anyone sees a problem, let us know.
Alright, fuel slow press. No, let's flip CNG to 1,000.
1,000? Target? Yep. Okay, so HES and GO1 to 1,000 psi.
We're doing final preparations to fire. I'm beginning to pressurize the propellant tanks and completely fill the LOX tank.
You can just keep it open.
It jumps.
500 psi in the fuel tank.
Can you please talk louder? Yeah. 700.
700 psi in the fuel tank.
No, in the COPD.
What?
COPD.
No, in the COPD.
780.
Target pressure?
1,000. John.
850.
It's 730.
730 and
540.
930.
Alright, that's good for now. Alright,
We're at 980.
fuel slow press, target pressure 730.
Alright, fuel cell press.
We will now be pressurizing the fuel tank to 730. The helium tank has been
Keep an eye on the strain.
filled. Filled partially.
155.
Think it is 7 a little high?
Yeah, 750.
260.
Okay.
Our tank's getting a little low. HSNG01 at the same time.
Okay.
Okay.
530 and 720.
Jason,
530, 720.
Go ahead. You want to keep it open?
Yep.
Yeah, careful.
540.
Right.
We're at 580.
Okay, keep going.
No, we're going 740.
740, okay.
720. 720.
Fuel slow press.
Alright, we're at
Keep going.
730.
Okay, that's good.
Box up.
Okay, lock slow press.
Box slow press.
We will now begin pressurizing the LOX tank.
Target 550.
We are targeting
target
550 psi.
Yeah, so it'd be like 540 or something.
Kara, get 911. On the line at least. Ready to go.
In case any issues happen, we have 911.
Alright, earplugs
on the
in,
phone.
safety glasses on, everyone kneel.
Ready to
Everybody
go.
down.
What is that noise?
I hear.
I think it's one of the doers with their subs going off.
Yeah. I'll have to copy that. No pressure loss to the system.
Right now we have a liquid nitrogen doer venting.
Where's the vent? It's holding?
Stop low, stop slow post.
No,
Tank is holding. It's falling slowly.
You want to close that ball valve? Oh, we can't do
We
that.
can't do that right now. It's going through the vent.
Okay, I would suggest closing that ball though.
Okay, so vent pressure.
Then we probably want to top off again.
What?
Or,
How about we press up and fire? It's kind of bad.
Yeah, we're too close to it. We're too close to try and.
Alright, well we have enough manifold, yes?
Yeah.
Okay,
we
then
have-
let's
That's
let
left.
this sleep through a little bit more.
Fuel is holding. That's good.
You don't want to let too much oil off though.
That's true. You did vent the whole thing?
Yeah, open up the LOX tank.
Hold on.
Don't do that one, don't
Don't,
one.
no, hold on. It'd be super loud.
No, I meant this one. But I don't know if we want to do that.
should I close HGS engine?
Yeah.
We got a lot of pressure to work with here.
Okay. Yeah, it's vent solenoid.
So LOX vent.
Oh.
Yep.
Do we have enough to
Okay,
approach
actually,
it?
no, it's fine.
Go for it.
I'm with you on that one.
Well, let's not close the door.
Pneumatic job.
Alright, what do we think? 100 psi, we're good?
Yeah.
working through a few issues right now.
Well, now it's not safety chapter 4, so you can click it now.
Okay. You good?
Yeah, I'm gonna close the ball valve.
Alright, stop the venting.
Wait, so that was leaking from the pneumatic vent?
Yes.
Is it possible that that valve was not...
Well, we can talk about it later.
Okay. Working one small issue. Just closing a valve off again. We should be good to go then.
Yeah, it looks like everything else is holding, and we have a backup valve here.
Just problems like this.
Yeah.
Is there?
Yes.
I think so.
Okay. All good?
All else closed.
Okay. Okay. We're gonna need a new fuel slow press a little bit.
Yep.
I want to do LOX first.
No.
Yeah, go fuel, go fuel.
Already back to 5-minute ETA.
Do I open HVAC and do?
No.
3.
No.
Fuel slow press.
Okay. Up to.
7:30.
So pretty quick here.
Good.
Yeah, fine.
All right. LOX slow press. Target pressure 540.
Alright, we're back to pressurizing.
Keep an eye on the engine. All right, cut it.
All right, we're ready to go.
Vent fuel.
Yeah, vent fuel down.
Very slowly.
Well, no, we're good. Actually, we're good.
Okay. All right. T-minus 1 minute.
Alright.
LOX tanks dropping.
Speed, John Glenn.
Just a little.
Press it up to 560.
Initialize flash and everything first, please. Did you click initialize? Okay.
Did you hit start?
No. We're fine, we're fine.
Okay. Box filter?
Yep.
Yep.
Go to 560. All right, that's good.
Alright.
All valves closed. Copy.
Hot fire is imminent.
Okay.
All right, we're good.
Less than 60
Start
seconds.
flash.
We're already starting on flash.
Okay. All right. Let's do
We're
it.
ready to go.
All right.
Everyone down.
Alrighty.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Round of callouts?
Yeah.
Okay. Safety, are we go? Go. Avionics?
Go.
Propulsion?
I want you to press it up, but then we're go.
Yeah, press LOX.
Alright. Press it up.
That's good.
Propulsion?
Go.
Outlaw?
Go.
Chief?
Go.
Okay.
Arming.
5, 4,
This one.
3, 2, 1.
Yes!
All right. Check the pressures.
Something
White
is
noise
very on fire.
That seems to have been
Alright, we need pressure vents.
a good
I'm
hot
gonna throw-
fire. We are now doing the post-hot fire
Fuel vent.
SOP.
What's going on fire?
We've got a fire.
There's a
I'm
fire.
done. Alright, fire extinguisher.
Is there anything?
Hold on.
in,
Hold on,
field?
hold on.
Can you check the field?
Field looks okay.
All right.
Where's fuel vent?
I think we should hold. We need a hold.
Hello? I would think very carefully.
Yeah, we know.
Let me know if you need to go.
All right,
Yeah,
we
Kate-
got
Kate said
EC,
there's
we're
fires in
losing
the field, I
parts of the
think.
EC.
Yeah.
The fires in the
Losing it?
field?
I can't read them.
Because there's fire on the.
All right, do you want manual depress in
In
the
the
CNG?
Yeah, I think so. Kate is saying that there's fires in
Hold
the
on,
field.
Vent
hold
the
on.
CNG. Vent the CNG.
Someone get a
CO2.
look at it?
What? No.
No, stay here for now.
We don't have GO2. Hold on, we've lost.
We're losing
No
all
field
of them.
fire. Oh wait,
Yeah.
thank you
Yeah,
for
it's
field fire. It's out. Field fire's out.
Huh?
Field fire's out.
Yeah. It's not that. That's not the one I'm concerned about.
All right, just hold.
I think we have to let it go.
But yeah, it looks like it's decreasing in size.
I didn't look at it. I don't run that.
Who's in charge of the fire extinguisher?
Paige has it.
Page.
Yeah, that's definitely decreasing. It's a lot less fire.
But we don't want to approach when it's pressurized.
Is it still pressurized?
Also, it's warming up, which is a really bad time to be pressurized.
Can we open the LOX fill vent? LOX drain.
Yeah, a lot of our harnesses
It says so fuel tank is open. So that's good. Is the LOX tank open?
Everything, we don't have continuity on most things.
Yeah, those measurements
Tough to
are all
tell what's going
LOX,
questionable.
it says the LOX, regular LOX tank. The LOX cylinder tank. Do we have
It's open.
continuity on that?
Yeah, it looks like that's open.
We have continuity on some helium tank.
Thank you, Batman. Very cool.
Can we open LOX slope out of the tank to do that? Or what's the LOX tank?
We can't.
Oh, it's not.
Right, well, the fire doesn't appear to have spread backwards. Like
No,
near
it's decreased a
the
lot.
back area.
Has anybody checked if there's a fire outside the bunker?
Yeah,
Yeah, Paige did.
There's not one behind, so that's good.
Yeah, that's what I mean. That's good.
That camera.
So obviously here, we had a fire underneath some of our harnesses, so we lost some connection to valve components. That being said, all systems have manual backups along with automatic pressure relieving devices. So there's no real threat, or there should be no real threat for the tanks nor the rest of the equipment in the system. We're currently waiting for the fire to go out, and we have fire extinguishers and 911 on standby. Things continue to go poorly, but for right now things seem under control, at least a little bit, so we're going to wait for this to die down and assess the situation.
I would keep an eye on just under the tank stand.
You can
It
see
looks
it
like
burst
may
out
have
from the
spread
left.
backward a little.
I don't see it spreading behind the bunker.
Yeah, as long as it doesn't spread outside.
No, that I'm just saying, like it looks like it's moved a bit more back toward the oxide.
Yes. How far?
No, I think that's just reflections.
That's a fire!
I didn't see that. Kate sent me by.
That car's right in front of it. Thumbs up. Where's the fucking video? He didn't trim this. Yeah. He didn't trim the video. What if a car went through the exact?
It looked pink.
What was our max? What is this?
Like the back shouldn't be. It should.
The car actually.
What? I think the vent valve is leaking.
When would be the appropriate time to approach?
I think we gotta let stuff die down.
We are still working through post-hot-fire SOP, and we're safing the system. No one is approaching it.
Is that possibly a light leaking through from the outside right now?
Here's the
It's flickering a little.
issue.
Oh,
If
because
you
the
have
lights probably went
heat
out.
and pressure, you can't approach because if you're heating up a pressure vessel,
No, I
that's where
agree.
that is.
No, I agree, but what's the fuel pressure at?
We don't have to run the
We'll
train.
have
Oh, we don't?
That's the
Well,
problem.
yeah, because all the harnesses are caught on fire.
Okay.
To put it lightly.
Main propellant line definitely exploded.
Do you have enough food?
Do not say that's not
Although I don't know if I want to go down.
Sorry guys, we're gonna have to cut the audio.
Everybody